Alrighty. Hey there, everyone. Good morning. Rather good night, I suppose. Currently 1:30 in the morning here on January 5th, 2026. And today in Minecraft, we're going to be building a shulker farm. So this is a farm that was designed by ending credits and uploaded by a YouTuber named Frago. This is quite possibly one of the nicest shulker farms I've seen in a hot minute here, and I like it quite a lot. I've actually downloaded the world download and I've given it a test. We'll be making some very, very minor modifications to it to support playerless farming. But once it's built, and we're done. And we have a nice, pretty shulker farm that we get to use. So we have quite a lot of stuff we need to go get. We got a lot of stuff we need to go put away. And frankly, there's nothing to do but to sit down and do it. So do it we shall. I had mentioned last time that I wanted to build ourselves a funny little moss farm, but then I remembered we don't have a shulker box farm, and to be quite frank, that's a lot more important right this second, and we have got to be able to do this. There's literally just nothing, there's no way around it. We have got to be able to do this, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start doing some inventory prep work here. We're going to go ahead and dump away all of our old stuff we don't care about. And on my other tab, I'm in a stupid ass skin. I don't want this skin. Give me a second. Wait a minute. We're going to fix that real quick because I don't like that. Give me 1 second. Okie doke. So as I was saying before, I found out I had a stupid ass skin. We still got work to do, and I'm a little worried because now my game capture doesn't want to show up at all, which is awesome and cool and just what I want. Okay, that's nice. It does not pick up any audio. So let's see if maybe changing the source did work. Okay, there we go. We should be back up on OBS now. There we go. All right, anyways, as I was saying, again, a very nice farm by ending credits, and the tutorial I'm looking at is by Frogger on YouTube. Long and short of it, we really just need a lot of scaffolding. And we have a little bit of scaffolding. For context, we need 44 stacks and a third of scaffolding. This is 54 stacks together, so we got the hard part done. Then we need a bunch of solid blocks, we need a bunch of slabs, and some super basic things otherwise. So we've, believe it or not, have already got most of the materials here. It's mostly scaffolding. It's a lot of scaffolding, it's a lot of slabs, it's a handful of wooden trapdoors, handful of walls, handful of lava, which actually, lava we don't need, and I will explain that in a little bit, but we need some soul sand as well, and we can really build this out of whatever. For context, this requires us to build this in a relatively flat area. So my prior discussion was that it was going to be built way out in the distance, and we'll go ahead and crank our render distance up to 32 chunks just to see what we can see out here. It'll be a little laggy for right now, but I think it'll still be manageable. But out in the distance, we have another mountain range we can use, and while it works on paper for what we want to use, in practice with this design, because I have not actually settled on the design until very recently here, again, this being the one, I wasn't sure if this is what I wanted to use. So I was like, oh, we'll just build it up in the air and it's going to be a normal one-dimensional farm that everybody's used to. But no, it's not. Objectively, it's just not. It's different. And frankly, it's a good kind of different that I like very much. So I want to make the most out of this, and I really want to get this right. So why don't we go ahead and pick out some nice blocks. Note that we have a lot of cobblestone, and we got a lot of regular stone here too. So I mean, I suppose we could mirror the tutorial a good bit and just make like a bunch of stone bricks or something, and then this will be like the bulk of our building block. So I guess we can go for that. So we'll go ahead and just make like a whole shoulder's worth of stone bricks. So there we go. So that'll get us all of our solid blocks. And then we need 19 and a smidge of slabs, which we can get quite easily. I feel like, again, I want something that'll be kind of nice here, and I also do not want to use deep slate for this. I'm being very specific about that because I would like to kind of save a little bit more of my deep slate, and I think I've overused it a little bit too much recently, and I'm saving a chunk for my moss farm more specifically, so I would much rather not use it if I can help it, and I can help it. Additionally, though, it should not be made out of any wood because it shouldn't be a flammable block, and unfortunately, that leaves us with cobblestone. So we have an ass load of cobblestone slabs we can work with, and work with them we shall. We'll just keep it nice and simple since we got a lot of cobble, so that'll be good. So we've got our scaffolding, our solid blocks, our slabs. We need 8 walls, which, yep, well, we got those. What about our trap doors? Well, we'll get to those in a sec. Temporary blocks. We will use dirt for our temporary blocks, since it should be very obvious that it shouldn't be there. So if we see dirt, we know that we've gone a step too far there, right? So carry a couple of that. Carry a little bit of that. We can knock out like a little bit of these stone bricks, just so that way we have like a little bit more space up here. There we go. All right. So we got plenty of stone bricks for what we need. We got our temporary blocks, we got our slabs, we got our walls. We want our wooden trapdoors now, and they can be out of any wood. Doesn't have to be bamboo, doesn't have to be spruce, but I got a lot of bamboo, I got a lot of spruce. And guess what we're making it out of? Yep, that's right. It's gonna be one of those two. Let's see here, trapdoor wise, here we go. We got ourselves a nice bountiful bit of trapdoors, which we can go ahead and tuck away in there. Lava buckets we can ignore because we're going to be using soul sand. Water buckets will be on us on our inventory, so that should be fine. And then you just need some hoppers and some chests for your inventory, rather for your storage. So that'll give us plenty there. And if you can believe it, that's frankly the bulk of it. We'll add in a chunk loader later. I don't feel a great need to do that at the moment. And we're also going to pause that thought because we're going to check in on the world download that again is provided by Froggo. So I have been messing around with it to implement an addition that was detailed by somebody in their comments section. But the long and short of that is they were able to, okay, because you have a bit of scaffolding that normally goes up. This is how the player would AFK, right? They would just come up here and go all the way down, and then eventually they would be right down in there. Now that guy died because we had a snow golem in place, but the idea is instead of building the lava here, you build 8 blocks of soul sand with soul fire on them, and then you place in a snow golem, And you make sure that all these buttons are, well, buttoned off, right? And then once you've got all that done, you can go ahead and slab off your golem so he can't escape at all. And then once your golem's in here like that, you make sure all that's buttoned off, golem's in place, you make sure you slab them off, and then however it is you gotta get out is how you're gonna try and get out, right? So realistically, this is gonna mean that I think we could build up one solid block like this. So instead of using a bottom slab, we'll try and keep it simple with a solid block. And we'll pop that out. We'll go into spectator, and basically, just to show how this farm is going to work, when we implement a shulker into here, we get it off of the minecart track and it's on an activator rail. The only places it's going to be able to land are on these stone bricks, because these are the only solid face that they have for miles, right? They're going to see the snow golem, they're going to try and shoot him, but they're not going to be able to hit him because of the fire in the way, and the snow golem won't be able to hurt nothing either. So the bullets are going to keep going back and forth until it hits an open shulker. If it hits an open shulker, then that's great. And basically, you're going to have a couple of weird things like this where they're going to try and teleport, but the long and short of it is that this is going to give them plenty of spawning spaces to teleport to, and then they're eventually going to find their way back down into this farm. Once you get a lot of them in like these main strips like this, they're going to eventually shoot each other and die, dropping their shells down into this water stream, which gets collected down here at the bottom, and then boom, there you go. So you've got a couple of not backup shulkers, but shulkers that will do what's called like a supercharge to the farm, where they're just here to provide more shulker bullets, and they're out of the range of the other shulkers' radius, if I'm not mistaken. So that way these guys can still spawn in bulk, but they provide more bullets, because more bullets hit more shulkers, which makes more shulkers, which makes more shulker shells. So once these are all filled up, you're in business, and you're doing great at that point. Additionally, too, should the farm ever lose all of the shulkers down here, and once it gets going, this should be an extremely rare anomaly, but should it ever happen, you have 4 backup shulkers up on these trapdoors. All you have to do to get these into the farm is flip the trapdoor, and they'll find their way into the farm instantly because of teleport, and then you're good. So it's a very nice, pretty looking design. It's quite simple to build. It's just a lot of building blocks, scaffolding, and slabs. And once you've got it, I mean, this could be anything. Like, we don't have to have this as the diamond shape. You know, I'm probably going to have this be a more traditional, like just big pit that it flows into, because as you had seen down there briefly, sometimes a shell will land out of bounds and we won't collect it. And I want to mitigate losses as much as possible, especially when it's something simple like that, right? Most of the time they should only die in here, but sometimes the items may fly out at really odd angles or something along those lines. So we'll do our best to prevent it. But again, instead of lava here, we should just be able to place this. If we go into creative mode and use our snow golem spawn egg, we can get a snow golem in there. It'll go ahead and do its thing, right? And we can go ahead and see the farm in action here. So you see a shulker just died, there goes its shell, and it's gone. You can see sometimes they will go ahead and teleport up and out throughout the farm. Let's see if we can get a peek on that. It looks like they teleport like crazy up throughout the farm, and then they try to hit each other while they're up here, and they don't seem too much appreciated up here. I don't know the exact mechanics of why this works. I know why they go up, because there's some one-way directionality with scaffolding that's super fucked up and evil, but I don't necessarily know how they find their way back down per se. But it is very interesting, because I believe them going up to that top layer gets them out of the way down here, because you realistically shouldn't be able to get this many shulkers in one area like this. So them getting out of the way resets that cap that's there normally, and then eventually something dies down here and another one comes down to fill its spot. So it's a very smart design with it. Big fan of it. It looks pretty. It's made out of some nice blocks. I mean, you can make them out of whatever blocks you want. Again, we're going to be using stone bricks and cobblestone slabs. It won't be the prettiest thing in the world, but it won't be the ugliest. And just kind of leaving the tick rate running at 1,000 for a minute or two, I was able to get this couple bit, which, again, that's not going to do you any good for actual, like, rates, but, hey, it's pretty good. So, let's see here. If I were to do, and let's just keep in mind we're at 47, if I were to do /tick sprint, and I did, I guess, 1 day, So this is 1 day of drops. The game is sprinting currently. And let's see here. I don't necessarily know at what speed. So it looks like the game is finished sprinting there. Oddly enough, though, something seems wrong. Oh. Because Oh, that's an issue. So that's an issue with my modification. It looks like the block choice that I chose was not the best. So we will have to try and figure out how we can cover up that golem properly. I mean, alternatively, we could literally just, like, not be dumb, and we could instead maybe do something like this, and then bring that in after the fact, and then we get our scaffolding, so maybe there's a better way for us to get it into the farm without shit breaking and being dumb. But it does look like it's working better now, so let's go ahead and run that again one more time. You can definitely hear it working down there, so we got one shell that we picked up by accident. And I mean, it does look like it is at least sprinted a little bit. Now it seems like something fucked up again, because it teleported back in there again because I didn't place back the one thing I was supposed to place in because I'm being a dumbass right now. So again, this is why we're in a creative world, because we're testing out stuff like this first to see what we can fix and what we can do better. And literally all we gotta do is, once this block is in place, we can... Oh, well, actually, let's think about how we would build this if we were doing this in survival. So we want a snow block, and we want a carved pumpkin. That is a carved pumpkin. That's not what we want. We'll go ahead and tuck that away. So if I were to do a little something like this, I could do that. I could do... Okay, well, he killed himself, so that's no good. Let's try this again. Let's try... Let's try that, that, and that. Okay. And now, if we were to put our scaffolding back, that should work. So we are able to get the golem in pretty easy, even in survival. It just takes a little bit of finagling and not being dumb. Let's try this another time, just to see what this looks like. Now you can see this looks like this is working a lot better here. See, we got a lot of shulker bullets falling down there. I'm not too sure if I'm seeing enough anything else, frankly. It looks like nothing teleported in here because of that button, which is great. This is a bottom slab, so I'm almost worried something would teleport into it. So we may want to add an additional button in there. And let's see what's going on in our chest then. So I think we were at 50 something before, now we're at 6, so I guess we could run another tick sprint just to see if this actually works how we're imagining or not. Yeah, there's 7. This is running very slow, suspiciously. There's something got messed up somewhere, I feel. It's not right. Let's also maybe get rid of this soul sand. Yeah, something don't feel right here. Well, this is why we go ahead and we test stuff out. Oh, yeah, they tend to die in like one hit if you don't have the fire to break the bullet, so... It's really weird, because I did actually have this working not that long ago, but I wonder what ended up changing. Nothing should really be different. You can see that there's definitely a batch of them that die. So I wonder if we either got unnaturally unlucky with the drops or if something else happened. No, we definitely just picked up a shell doing that. Oh, let's see what we got, I guess. Let's see here. Infinite night vision. There we go. 51. Yeah, okay. So it seems that somehow we had messed something up with the golem, or maybe that spawning pad or something was weird because we didn't have the button before on the bottom layer, but now we do. So it just seems like we'll need to bring some extra buttons to do a little bit more spawn proofing. But now we're at a design that works. So just physically watching this in real time, I'm just kind of curious to see what this is actually going to look like a little bit more. I am kind of curious to see, yeah, we just saw something die there. We'll go ahead and turn on hitboxes too, just to see if we can see things a little bit better. Things don't necessarily look like they're dying, but then again, things don't tend to die too fast, I guess. Um, which is a bit of a shame. I wonder if putting in more snow golems would actually be useful. Because I've only ever put one in this, but we're going to try and put in a couple more. We're going to hit F1 to show our screen again. Wish I could cram a couple more into there. Alright, that should be 24 in there, or right about 24. So we'll see if just having more ends up helping us out. As long as it keeps pissing stuff off, then I think we should be fine, so. We'll go ahead and do another tick sprint there. You go and see it working there in action. You can see we do get some items that drop down there at the bottom, so we are doing good. Hmm. We also may want to clear out this whole chest here. Just so that way it's free of shells and maybe we can go ahead and run another day sprint. See what's going on. Nothing in there at the moment. Let's go ahead and run another tick sprint. And let's just keep it on the chest while it's empty. Just to see what we can get. We physically picked one up. I don't know if you heard that or not. We just picked up another. This is definitely slower than I would like, honestly. So after our whole in-game day, or a full 24-hour period, I'm not actually 100% sure, frankly, we only got 8 shells, which I don't know how I feel about that. Because if I go ahead and I do like tick rate 1000, which is 50 times the normal speed, then maybe again something's wrong. Okay, something is 100% wrong. We're getting too few, like, shells there. Something's wrong. Alright. We're gonna go back to tick rate 20, and we're gonna see. So the only modifications I've made to this farm design were the soul sand bits here. And yet these don't seem to be working too well for us. We're gonna kill everything here. Just to keep things nice and simple, we'll just kill everything, and then we are going to fiddle around with this. And I'm just kind of curious, I guess, what I can do to make this better. I don't know if maybe having like an extra soul sand block could help because it'll lower their hitbox down into the ground a little bit more. So maybe it could be something like that. Let's see here, snow golem. We got ourselves a snow golem spawning, and we got ourselves a shulker. So we're gonna just do one snow golem, and we're gonna do one shulker, and we're gonna see really how this works. And we're gonna get a button here as well, right here in the center. We got one up above, there we go. So maybe them being just a little bit lower in the ground will help us out a little better here. Also weird though is that they don't seem to want to like fire back sometimes. Maybe it's just a matter of it taking a while. Also curious to see how the farm kind of populates itself over time too. Just to see how it works with only one single shulker. Yeah, something ain't right. It's trying to hit it, but it can't do it. Okay, yeah, something's seriously wrong. My normal 20 tick speed. That is super weird, man. What the heck? It's like this shulker doesn't even want to try shooting at him. Like, as the other one was busy shooting at him too. Damn, man, what a shame. Okay, well, let's maybe try this again, this time with normal height. We'll try a tick rate increase from here. Okay, so the height of it does matter pretty significantly there. So when it was too low, we got basically nothing, but now that it's a normal block height, it seems to be working significantly better. You can see how everything fills up, so that extra little bit of difference did matter quite a lot. And now, how are we doing on this front? I definitely feel as though we're getting a lot of shells a lot again, so... Alright, we'll do 20 per second. We'll go ahead and clean all this out. And then we're going to do another sprint. It looks like that's producing a lot better. So we're doing a 1-day sprint. Well, let's see how we did after a single day of tick sprint. 53 shells, basically 54 because I forgot to close the trap door. Okay, so yeah, that seems like that did work a lot better. So that just seems to be the thing with this. We really just need to, frankly, keep it very simple. The bottom part should stay the same as it is in the tutorial. We can add in our soulfire. Maybe we're gonna do kill at EF again because there's another bit that I want to try here. I want to see if maybe raising the snow golem up just a single block would make a big difference too. Just out of curiosity, you know? We tried lowering it by like a 16th of a block. What if we tried to raise it a 16th of a block? How would that make a difference? And no, a snow layer is not a 16th of a block. Not as far as the game's concerned, so... Alright, we got our guy in place. We're gonna go ahead and yet again give ourselves some night vision. There we go. And we're gonna make sure we get all that cleared out. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and get one shulker into the farm here. And we're gonna do tick sprint one day. Well, I don't know if the height difference has mattered or not. It feels like it has. Now remember, this one day also includes the setup time, so it's going to be slow for a decent chunk of time until it's properly set up. So let's just see how we did. Yep, it looks like it mattered. Alright, so that is a very interesting thing to note. And for whatever reason, we can even see what the amount that's dropping now. Now, granted, it could also be because there's more turbochargers here, but it doesn't seem like using a carpet will hurt it at least, the bare minimum. So, okay, I think that's our plan there to do some basic modification. We'll go ahead and build this out in hardcore here right quick because it shouldn't be nothing too hard. See what we can do. And, yeah, shouldn't be too bad. Let me see real quick. Back on that tutorial, let's go ahead and get all that pulled up. Go back to Bingus. That's the name of our hardcore world. Here we go. We got our scaffolding. We got our solid blocks. We got our slabs. We got our trapdoors, our walls, our soul sand, our water buckets, our chests, our hoppers, and our temporary blocks. And that's all the material we need for this. Now, we will need activator rails and rails later to import the shulker, but we don't need that right now. So it's best not to worry about it now, ain't it? Oh, additionally, buttons. We need just a small itty bitty little handful of buttons and a carpet, because that's also part of our design that we just went ahead and jerry-rigged together. Here we go. And, you know, we'll take like a stack of slabs out. That's fine. Put our buttons and our carpet in there. There we go. And, you know, we actually should, and I think we will, we need to also get the materials for the snow golem up front. We're not going to get another chance later to do this, or at least as well as we want. So we specifically want just one snow golem. I think one snow golem is going to be what we're looking for. Why don't we actually do one last test here just to see if there's a difference between one snow golem and 20. So we're going to do slash kill at E again. We're going to go ahead and clear out the item storage. Give ourselves night vision, like so. We've got that cleared out. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and pop into our box. And we're going to spawn in 20 snow golems. That's one. Okay, can't spawn in any more at the moment. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Alright, so we got 24 snow golems in there. Now remember, one golem got us a little over 2 stacks, right? So how is 24 gonna fare? We'll pop in one shulker and do slash tick sprint 1 day. The answer is not well. It would appear that 24 golems breaks this quite severely because I think there's too many snowballs now coming out and they're breaking the shulker bullets. Let's go ahead and do slash effect, give Jacob 86, string, infinite 255, and let's go kill a crap ton of snow golems right quick. Oh, yeah, let's just give ourselves a sword. There we go. Alright. One golem. Yep, one golem's the strat there. So again, one golem on a single bit of carpet. Oh. Oh, that's unusual. Oh, that's no good. It seems like it went ahead and broke on itself. Well, we got 60 out of it before it broke, but let's see how that backup works. Alright, let's try another day sprint here. Huh, well, hey, at least we know the backup trapdoors work. And that seems to be back at it. So it looks like we just had a real big bout of bad luck there. It's bound to happen, nothing wrong with it, it's just what happens sometimes. That is definitely a little unfortunate. It's also odd that none of them are popping up on that side, but that could just be due to random chance, so. And we only got 28 from that. We didn't change anything on the inside at all. We got one snow golem who is on top of a bit of carpet, like he's always been. And maybe it was just about a bad luck. And also because the turbocharges, remember, they're not filled in as full as they should be either, so that's another issue too. We were at like 1 stack and 24, and now we're at 3 stacks here. So we basically doubled it in like a single day. So it is just going to be RNG dependent for the most part. Looks like we'll probably get about 1.5 stacks a day. You were at 3 stacks flat basically after that sprint. So let's see how we're doing here. So this is all of our new stuff, plus an additional 2. Yeah, so we got a little over 1 stack there in a day. Okay, yeah, so realistically, I think that's what we're aiming for. If I go ahead and I add in, if I were to manually go through and get all of the turbochargers filled in, so like if I imported a bunch of extra shulkers and I just went fucking apeshit and I like by hand made sure we got all these extra ones in, how would this fare? Would this do any better? Like what's the difference here, you know? The difference, I'm not too sure because I didn't actually clean anything out, so We should maybe do something about that after this day sprint. Yeah, after this day sprint, we'll go ahead and clean out this test, and then we'll do another actual, we'll do a formal check. All right. Let's go ahead and get that deleted. And sorry we're popping so far back and forth between all this stuff. I just feel like it's important to make sure that something like this truly works in a way that we can imagine. So I really want to make sure that this is going to work how we're imagining it, you know. So all of our turbochargers are fully filled in, and we've run yet another single day of tick sprint. What have we got? We got a stack in 16, or stack in 13 rather. Let's run that again. So we were at a stack in 13, so we should see 2 stacks in 26 if we keep about the same rate. And again, we'll see some fluctuation in that based on RNG and the odds of them dropping stuff. So we'll see what that properly entails. So you can see it's a little bit more, but basically about the same. So yeah, we get about a stack and a fifth every day. It looks like some of our superchargers went out too, by the looks of it. Again, it gets better as it goes through, so I guess it's fine. But yeah, kind of interesting there. So yeah, I mean, I guess this does work. It's nice. I'm also curious about like 60 seconds. That was 60 seconds of farm there, which I'm guessing is like real life time there for 60 seconds. So a day is an actual full 24 hours then, I guess, which is kind of nuts. I guess I'm also curious if like how big of a difference me physically standing here too is gonna make. Ow. Did not mean to clip through the world there. Oops. Now let's go ahead and do tick sprint. At least we're safe here while we're AFK. So Shulker's aggro on the player better than they do on snow golems, by the way. We got a shell kind of at random here. Very odd. I also don't want to be standing AFK here personally, so that's why I'm just kind of curious to see how that's going to go. Okay, that feels like that filled up way better. So having the player does make a pretty significant difference by the looks of it. So you can either physically stand up there as a... Damn it. You can either physically stand up there or you can let the golem do its thing. Again, we're going to try this one more time. We're going to do that with no player interaction. We're just going to let a snow golem do its thing. Damn, it's already been 45 minutes, so that time it didn't even break a stack. So letting a snow golem do its thing up there didn't let it break a stack at all. Maybe having a better mix of golems. So what if we What if we went ahead and we added just a couple more? What if we only had like 4 in here? Alright. Take those out. And then we're gonna do 1-day sprint. Okay, well we seem to have fucked this up a little bit, so we're gonna try and get a spectator, salvage what we can. Okay, now that is noticeably much faster with just 1 extra snow golem, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so there seems to be some ideal ratio of snow golems to shulkers, which also makes me curious if maybe there is another way that we could design this, or another addition that we can go about adding. Okay, let's maybe think about this a second too, right? So let's get rid of all this damn fire so we can think a little bit better. Okay, so we know for a fact, right, that, and we're gonna go ahead and maybe we'll put like a fence in the middle. Grab that, we'll grab that, there we go. Okay, so let's say I wanted to have snow golem in each direction, right? Let's maybe grab a wall instead of a fence, because walls are thicker and it might do us a little bit better here. Let's try... Okay, I didn't break anything, so that's good. Additionally, we can... Actually, no, we can't leave it there because we're gonna have to burn it anyways. Looks like we also put a button of some kind there, which seems to be quite odd, because I don't believe that was there. That might have been a me thing. Okay, so the idea is, what if, right, we had snow golem in each of these spots? And let's go ahead and get ourselves some slabs. So that way we have, actually no, we'll do solid blocks here. We'll go ahead and get ourselves a nice batch of solid blocks. Slabs it is, because actually this is going to make things more difficult, so that way we only have to slab the undersides here. Or rather, we only have to do the buttons there. And then we do, like, I don't know, like this. We do something like that, so no shulkers can spawn in here at all. They're just kind of here, right? And what this is ideally going to accomplish is this will allow us to contain snow golems a lot better. And actually, we may be able to take this a step further here by using trapdoors, so we can still implement some kind of scaffolding or something in here, so that way we can physically get in and out of this. Hang on, let's go ahead and we're just doing some fiddling here, you know? It's late, I got stuff I want to try, so I'm gonna try it, damn it. Alright, we're gonna try something like that. We were to flip these up, like so. We can't because the button's in the way right now, and that should still be fine because we can get rid of that. Going. Got to get rid of all the soul sand for now. There we go. Technically, we could just place them on the roof, and frankly, I guess we should. But just for my own sake, we're going to just try this. Alright, we go ahead and seal all of this in now. And then we could have a batch of scaffolding down here in the center. Now, actually, yeah, we're gonna keep this a little bit simpler. There we go, there we go, and there we go. We do something like this, so then if we want to, we can AFK in here or whatever. Not that I probably would, frankly, but you never know. It's nice to have an option to do stuff, right? And not to mention it is actually easy access into here now, so I do like that quite a lot. Alright, with something like this, we can now get Fat Boy in his hole. There we go. Okay. We got 4 of them in their hole. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a flint and steel. And we're going to pause that thought for a second because I notably didn't put them on any carpet because I can't anymore because now those trapdoors are in the way. So we're going to try this without the carpet because that might also not be necessary too. So we'll give that a fair, honest try again. And we'll maybe like fly into a spot that we can actually reach a little bit better. There we go. That's all cleaned out. We got that in there. Then we're going to go ahead and light our soul sand up. So we haven't changed anything with the actual core of the design. All we've done is we've tried to see if we can basically have one snow golem per bit. And we'll see if that helps. Technically, we should actually have 2 because we did noticeably see that 2 worked. But again, let's just baby steps here, you know. Go ahead and get 1 shulker shell, or 1 shulker spawn egg. And let's go ahead and ready up a tick sprint 1 day. Note how we're basically not getting anything here. This doesn't feel like this is working. In fact, somebody feels like they died. Yep, because he has. Well, that's no fun now, is it? Okay, well, what if we did... Okay, what if we tried that? Okay, that seems to work a lot better, so it seems like the trapdoors were what were messing us up. We also seem to have gotten unlucky here, and every shulker has died within the farm, so we would have to activate a backup shulker. We have one currently within the farm being a bitch, but that's because he is a backup shulker, ain't he? Yep, he is. So we would have our backup shulkers in that emergency. That got us nothing there. Alright, that's cool. Alright, let's go ahead and add in another one. Do this again. There we go, much better odds. Alright, I'm giving myself night vision. There we go. 16. That doesn't feel right. Let's try that again. The game is sprinting, but nothing is happening. This is because all of them have died, isn't it? Yep, that is correct. So this arrangement of soul fire does not seem to be blocking anything as much as it should, which frankly is not cool. That doesn't help us out much then, if that's going to be the case. Hmm. Well, it's not that I can't replace these either. I guess it's that I don't know if I should, per se. Is this going to be a good thing to replace? Let's also maybe grab stone brick, pop in a spectator, move on out of here. So what if we had this kind of like cross-like shape here, or a plus shape? You know what I'm talking about. What if we had this kind of shape, right? And from here, we went ahead and we lit everything up. Again, we're not going to worry necessarily about the logistics of how we would do this in survival at the moment, because this is just a test to see if this would work in any capacity. So we don't give a fuck that it's not survival friendly to get me here at the moment. We just want to see if we got something that works. Oh, right. Now they're all on carpets, too. We're gonna do slash kick sprint one day. There we go. Oh. I'm gonna assume that one was a failed test because we didn't slab that off properly. So that one doesn't count. Additionally, those carpets may be screwing us here. And additionally, we may be running into the same source problem again, where too many snowballs are going towards one shulker, and they're not basically like staying in their own lane here. Let's see where they're physically looking. Let's go ahead and turn on hitboxes here. See what we can see. If we can fucking see anything. Oh, and that too. So that's also another issue. We didn't actually replace any of this. There we go. We forgot to put that back, so that's on us. So again, another flawed test here. Additionally, you can see that two of them ended up dying anyways. And that they're not even looking in the parts that they are supposed to. So, I guess this turns into another question. Could I maybe force them to look somewhere else? Do it again, thing. Alright, let's see if this does the trick. We'll go ahead and get ready to launch another tick sprint here momentarily, but first, same deal, we're gonna go ahead and get that all cleared out. Alright, and then we'll run another tick sprint for one day. Let's see if these guys are still holding up. Alright, this is a little loud and grating, I do realize that. Oh, additionally, we're on easy mode right now. Let's try hard. We're gonna rerun this because I think that also fucked with us pretty bad. We're gonna turn that off. Okay. So, having those blinders seems to have worked out greatly for us. We completed a full day tick with no issues. They seem to have just picked their own lane and stuck with it, which is great. That got us a stack in 17. Oh, slight bit more than that, because we just picked up an extra one. That's interesting. Alright, just got another shell. And we'll count that as part of it. It's fine. We'll run another day tick sprint here. So, all we ended up changing basically is the blinders. It seems to have helped us quite a bit. Especially as we've started to get it turbocharged too, so notice how the corners are starting to fill up gradually. This is helping us by, again, giving us more bullets. That got us a stack and a half this time. So that's better. That's more in line with what I'm reasonably expecting here. And I think that has still worked. So, as we can see, all four of them are still alive. Let's go ahead and try and get... Let's try and get two at a time in here. So let's just focus on physically getting it in here, and then that, we'll do that. There we go. Whoops. Additionally, I guess we could get these blocked off too. There we go. Okay. So, as we had done before in a prior test, note that 2 snow golems did make a significant difference. So, let's see if 2 in each cardinal direction that can only shoot their own direction is going to help us or not. Already, this looks like this has helped quite a bit. That's too much dead time. Something happened. No. Nope, we just got really unlucky and it seems like everything kind of just gave up in the farm for a little while there. So we had like a extinction event basically that created our rates for a while. But if we do another tick sprint here, it looks like it does get fairly well populated again. But again, dude, it doesn't seem to be wanting to do anything with 2. So 2 in each doesn't seem to want to help here, unfortunately. That feels like that has hurt our rates, yeah. I don't like that. That didn't feel right. So we'll try 1 in each. So remember, 2 didn't even give us a stack per day, right? So let's see how 1 in each cardinal direction holds up. It seems like this is already working a lot better. Note how like all the directions seem to have a lot more shulkers in them. Yeah, it looks like 1 in each cardinal direction. Probably be the way to go there. Yeah, that's what it would seem. And again, you still got plenty of backup shulkers and whatnot, but that really seems like that's going to be the big thing there is we basically need to have 1 snow golem in each direction that can shoot. Additionally, I'm kind of curious if maybe adding in a wall or something makes a noticeable difference too. we're just gonna wall this off for now. I don't want this to have any more interference with it, frankly, so we'll just put a wall in there. So we'll try that. And then we're also gonna try and get rid of the carpets here too, because I also feel like maybe the carpets aren't doing us any favors. Let's try another tick sprint. So now by replacing the corner blocks with walls, I wonder if this is actually going to help us at all. Nope, because now it looks like somebody died. Looks like they've shot each other, so now we've lost ourselves a snow golem. That got us like a stack, so that wasn't like nothing, but that definitely was noticeably less. So that's no good. I don't think we're going to get around to building the farm today. We've at least got the materials and we got the location, but I don't think the actual farm is going to happen at the moment, frankly, because we've got too many different things to test. We're going to try one now with our normal blinders. With, oh shit, alright, yeah, it's on me. No carpet on them. No carpet, normal solid block blinders, and a snow golem in there. There we go. Alright, so one snow golem in there. One snow golem in each cardinal direction with standard blinders. Again, we seem to have some issues with dead zones where things just tend to like go out of style. Notice how they're not even producing anything anymore at the moment. These guys are all still alive though, but they also are shooting at the wrong things too, because I see them trying to shoot at these guys in the corner. And I don't want that. So what if we blocked off all of the subsequent corner fire with solid blocks? We'll just keep it simple and just use soul sand. So basically, we make a big chunk of soul sand so they've got one bit of soul fire that'll stop any bullets that come to try and kill them. How is this effective? Because we're losing snowball attempts on them trying to shoot corner ones. And we don't want that. Make sure to go into spectator here. That seems to be a solid part of it. We should be running out of tick sprint here. Yeah, about a stack and a half. Okay, so it looks like the corner attempt that they were making were detrimental, so that's no good. Alright, so one snow golem in each cardinal direction produced about a stack and a half in a single day. So what happens again, because we did at one point have a test where two snow golems did more than one. What if we did it again? Which I could fucking see in here, but apparently not. We can do all that. Whoops. Oh, that's fine. One, two, two. It. That's annoying. try that. Let's give this another test. That's cleaned out. Tick sprint down. This one is a bad one too because we didn't get a lot down here. But that also could mean that, again, having two snow golems like this is too much for a single row to handle, and it breaks too many bullets. I think that's what that's implying. So having two snow golems in each cardinal direction seems to be too bad. Yeah, because notice how much fewer we ended up getting because of that, right? So we're going to get rid of those. And we're going to go through and kill a golem on each cardinal direction. Okay, now that they're all killed, let's go ahead and do a tick sprint one day. There we go. We weren't even at half a stack before, and now we're not at half a stack again. What the fuck? What the hell, man? Maybe we've gone in too deep with the separation bits that are here. Maybe something else is wrong. I feel like we funked something up here. Alright, let's try a carpet again. See if maybe a single 16th of a block and height difference is going to make a difference for this. There we go. Boop. Seems like it's making a difference to me. It certainly seems like that made a difference, but again, it's not quite the result we're looking for here, I guess. I don't think the blinders is working how we have imagined. Alright, let's get this back to basics. So it's going to be the 3x3, like so. Your soul sand in the center like that. Oh, I also don't remember how he built this part because I did not write that down. Shoot. I'm peeking through the tutorial here to see if I can remember where all the scaffolding had went. Alright, nope, I don't remember. Well, shit. I'm gonna assume that it at least mirrors what's going on under here. I think there was a thing of slabs. Yeah, this is right. There was a thing of slabs here like this, and then there was scaffolding on all of these. Remember, I had broken some now because of that other testing, so we'll see if maybe this makes a proper difference. And we had to break those because we needed a place to put more sulfire. That's what our other issue was there. Okay. And then this should have been gone, basically. And I'm trying to think what we had here. Maybe we just had like a thing of blocks or something. We'll find out when we actually build this for real. So this is just more of a test, but we'll see if maybe this works. Now we did that. Now we could do that. Alright, we'll try one single one. Additionally, it doesn't really look like there's anything else. And again, I feel like they really shouldn't be able to shoot the diagonal ones like that. But at the same time, there may be a benefit for them shooting the turbochargers, because then they could re-jump start the farm all on their own instead of me having to bring it back up by flicking the trapdoor. But we'll try with just bringing in a backup, and we'll see what that does, and then we'll do another tick sprint. See if we can get this restocked. The answer is no. Okay. Let's try this one more time without having to have any replacement. So this is just the farm operating normally. You've got a couple of turbochargers, that kind of good deal. Pop in a spectator again. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be dependent on how often they drop stuff, but still, I think that's still fine. And we've got two of them in here. So let's try it with just one. So two in there got us a stack and 11. So what if we tried with just one? Alright, a stack and 18. What if maybe the sheer amount of turbochargers is also influencing things in a negative way? Like if I were to go ahead and get rid of like the corners of all these here, right? And instead of having 5 slots per corner, we only had 3. What if this would fix things a little bit better? What is this effect? Let's try that. Let's also go ahead and make sure that we cleared everything out. So we got a stack and a third. We got a stack and 22 there. So let's go ahead and see what that would do. That feels like that is making it slower, though, I will say. That does feel noticeably slower with no other changes, so that didn't even get us a full stack. So yeah, I think that does have to stay, unfortunately. And again, as long as we just build something that works, I guess I don't need to be too picky about it all, but like I still want to make sure, you know, because this is a lot of stuff to build, and especially physically, you know, once I bring over a shulker, that's it. Like my fate is sealed. That's what's gonna happen, right? So I really want to make sure that we do this the right way first time, and that we have a good one-dimensional farm that just works. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to sweat too hard over it or nothing. It just works, and it works as it's supposed to. We also didn't add any more spots in here yet. We got another like 16 shells or something. So like we're going to now add in the turbocharge and maybe see if, I guess, how much difference that really makes. It should make a good bit. Damn, it's already 3 in the morning as well, too. That's crazy. I couldn't really sleep at all, so that's why I'm here streaming right now, by the way. But, you know, it's on me. It seems like about a stack and a third, yeah. Okay, so you get one snow golem, or that's with 2 snow golems again. We're gonna try it with just 1 here. Okay, if I could fucking punch anything properly, that is. Okay. Like I was saying, we're going to try 1 snow golem, no carpet now. Because I'm not sure how different this is too on its own. Give this a try. So 1 snow golem, no carpet. This is the simplest change we can make. We now seem to be stuck at 59 because we barely get any on the side. So again, it looks like it'll ebb and flow on that front. Part of our turbocharger also mysteriously died too. And yeah, about a stack of 9. Let's try that again. Are we going to get a stack of 9 this time? Just by leaving the farm running. So we should see 2 stacks and 18 if we get another stack and 9. We didn't even get that. I feel like it's because of a drought thing, honestly. Let's try 2 again. Now I'm trying the same stuff over and over here, but it's important to keep retesting to make sure that like we're dealing with the right things here. I do know though that these rates are going to be dependent on the shulkers getting mad often enough to actually want to shoot bullets and stay open to duplicate. So note how having 2 golems has gotten us like 2 stacks here. Actually, exactly 2 stacks. That's insanely nice. So that's a mix of luck, that's a mix of having full turbochargers, and that's just a mix of there being enough stuff in here. So, yeah, we got 2 golems that are doing their thing. What if we added a third? If we can add a third, that is. 2. And I also think one of them had just died too, so we're gonna try this again, but this time we're gonna aim at the ceiling. Okay, that's 4. That's 4 golems. So with 2 golems, we got 2 stacks of shells. How well is 4 golems gonna perform here? So should maybe get rid of all these snowballs. That's fine for now. Oh. We have a minor amount of lossage to leaving that open. So I'm not going to count this test either. So we're going to try this again. This time we're going to make sure that trapdoor is closed, and we'll give this another one. We'll sprint for another day here. It looks like they interfere with each other too much when there's more than 2. So we've tried 1, we've tried 2, we've tried 4. Notably, we got better results with 2 than we did with 1, but we got worse results than we would have gotten with 4. So we just completed our tick sprint. We didn't even get half a stack, so 4 seems to be too many. What about 3? We haven't tried 3 yet proper, now have we? Great. Certainly looks like 3 in there. So let's see if it is. And let's do another day tick sprint. There we go. Oh, shit. I don't want that. Because I don't want them shooting at me, because that'll interfere with the farm, but I don't think none of them fired. 3 seems to have really slowed things down. Wow, that's significantly slower. Man, what? Come on, quit putting me in adventure mode. It's not where I want to be. Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and kill one of these guys. Now we're down to 2. We've got just 2 golems. Nothing else has changed. And if 2 golems gets us like that stack and a half again, then like we're going to go with 2 golems, because that'll be like the optimal amount for what we're trying to do here. Okay, now we're barely getting anything at all. Even with, okay, now this is bullshit. Something happened. I fucked something up somewhere. Because I should be getting way more than that with just 2 golems. I should not be getting half a stack. So I did something wrong somewhere. What it is I did, but find out. I'm going to spawn in 2 new golems, and we're just going to see what they do now. So we didn't even get half a stack last time. And now we still have leftovers in there, so I'll just discount like half a stack. And now they're flooding in a lot more. So we definitely cleared a stack. We definitely cleared a stack and a half, 100%, without doubt. So why did respawning them seem to affect that? What the fuck is up with that? Hey, again, carpet. Go, we got ourselves some carpet. Okay. And let's go ahead and get this cleared out. Let's run our tick sprint for another day. It might be luck dependent. It might be super heavily luck dependent because that also doesn't feel correct with what we had gotten in the past. And now notice how the middle chamber is not full of anything. I'm gonna try 3 days here. So once it gets going and it gets populated, I think it does a lot better. Whether or not it gets populated fast seems to be a whole different story. It definitely does seem to have some spurts where you'll see it speed up like that, and you'll even get like 2 at a time, but it'll kind of just slow down. But I wonder if, again, there's gotta be like, I wonder if blinders are gonna be another thing there. Let's try that. Okay, we completed that tick sprint finally. No, we're not going to do that again for 3 days. We're just going to do 1 day. Okay, so we added in blinders so that way they can't shoot their snowballs at them like that anymore. And we ran this for 1 day. Okay, and see, this was empty. So I think blinders and 2 snow golems. Wow, and that one produced a crap ton that time too. So what do we have here? Well, we have a carpet, 2 snow golems, and then blinders on all corners. That's all we have. That's all that's special about this thing is the fucking blinders. And like literally nothing else. Now, I'm willing to bet that that was a fluke because getting nearly 3 stacks like that out of nowhere doesn't sound right. Keep in mind, it's assuming full turbocharge, all that kind of deal. But hey, let's give it another try. We'll run it for another day and see if we get 3 stacks again. And if we do, then I think this is the format that we want to work with, where we'll have 2 snow golems, the soul sand around it, and then we'll have it blocked off so only each cardinal direction can have a snowball get shot out of it. So that way it makes life a little bit easier for us here. They're on top of a carpet as well. That definitely does not seem like a fluke then. 2.5 stacks. Let's run it again. Let's destroy those. And in fact, let's also make sure to destroy these snowballs this time. There we go, that's better. Alright. This time we're going to physically take inventory of what we have. We have nothing in any of the chambers here. What if I run it for a day now? Now, we're not going to get anything, right? Because now nothing's popped out and nothing's filling the farm. Which makes sense, you know. All of these shulker bullets seem to align down into here, which is fine. We could also, and this is all hypothetical, I think what we could also do that would actually help us out fairly significantly is if we decided to, okay, well, first of all, let's button that out because maybe that's interfering with it technically. And second of all, we had one of the backup timers hooked up to like a daylight sensor. because then this would automatically like flip every once in a while, right? Or rather, observer daylight sensor. If I were to do slash game rule, nope, slash game rule. Okay, what if I do slash do um am I insane? Is advanced time the new command now? What the fuck? It's not do daylight cycle anymore? Oh, that's weird. That is super odd. That can't be correct. Just so that way we have something that can stock the farm now. Okay, so a couple of things. We're gonna do this more as a test of the daylight sensor bit. We're gonna do 1 day tick sprint. Now the sun is advancing. That is weird, huh? Yeah, alright, that's on me. Let's try this again. Maybe less issues this time. Did we even get anything from that? Yeah, we did. Let's sprint another day here. It seems like, too, once it gets going, it does do a lot better, so could just be a case of kind of bad luck. But yeah, okay, I think that's what we've settled on there. That definitely seems to be the play. Perfect. Okay, 2.5 stacks again. So we have a built-in addition to our backup that will release the backup shulkers into here. And in fact, why don't we actually just do this on all 4 sides? Because maybe this is another fix that we could do as well. That will make life a little bit easier. Because what if instead of releasing one backup at a time, we released all of them, right? Or at least 3 of them. You know, we gotta at least get more than just one. But it's a very simple extra addition to have. And we'll keep getting backups into the farm too, but this helps to kind of like juice it up a little bit here for us. And I think that's worth something. So this is not going to be built today, but this will be built at some point in the very, very near future. But I want to iron out some of the very fine details that I have issues with personally and see if we can improve upon them ourselves. Of course, we still have like a couple of extra that are like lost from just not having good water stream, but that's a super simple fix when we get to that point, so I'm opting to ignore that. We're going to do another day-long sprint here on the spectator. Remember, 2 snow golems with a carpet. They're blocked off so they can only shoot in their cardinal directions, and the daylight sensor will automatically deploy backup shulkers at fairly regular intervals that will find their way directly into the farm. And that seems to have helped as well because we've hit basically 3 stacks there. Good. So I noticed too during nighttime there weren't any passes. So what if we had 2 of them be nighttime sensors and 1 of them and 2 of them were daylight sensors? how would this affect our rates? So again, let's go ahead and keep running more tests here. I just saw something else fall into the farm, so this thing is actively working quite well. Another 1-day tick sprint. Let's get rid of all of these. See the moon going pretty well there. Look at it go. They're still flicking regularly. We do get some backups in there too, which is great. All right. Let's see how that turned out. About 3 stacks again. Yeah, okay. So, I think we found our most optimal bit. By the way, 1 day was in fact not 24 hours, it was 1 in-game day. Remember, 1 in-game day, start to finish, is, I believe, 20 minutes if I'm not mistaken. So in 20 minutes, we got 3 stacks. Pretty damn consistently too, might I add. So again, we're gonna run another test. So we're gonna drill it again, damn it. And look, it just is now starting to pump out a bunch because we hit a good balance of turbocharging, snow golems, and forced backups to be integrated into the farm. So again, this isn't even at full turbocharging capacity here at the moment, which we'll try it with full turbocharge capacity. And it does deploy the nighttime one very well. We even have some lossage here too on these corners, so we should pretty clearly, well, clear 3 stacks. And very close again. So yeah, and we just got another one too while we were just here, and time was a lot slower. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. We'll go ahead and add in more turbocharge as well. We'll try and keep this as stocked as we can, just to try and get something clean here. Or something cleaner testing-wise. You get your 5 turbocharge and then your 2 backup. Alright, let's do another day. We'll launch another tick sprint. So remember, we had 5 turbocharge in all sections. We're down to 4 in a couple, it looks like. So we do naturally lose them over time, even if there's no snowballs getting shot at them from cardinal directions, because it looks like shulker bullets do end up hitting them after enough time. So that ends up becoming a thing in and of itself. But it's a fairly minor issue that I don't have too many issues with. That time we only got about 2 stacks. Notice how there's nothing in here again. In fact, do we actually have anything in our backups here either? Ooh, see, now we don't. So we put too much into these backup bits, and now we need a way to add in some extra stuff. But hey, maybe this is a good time to maybe expand on this idea a little bit more, right? So we can go ahead and add a couple more things into here. Get rid of these. Let's see if there's a balance of hitting these at all. Oh. So here's what we're gonna try and do. I think we're gonna try and hit like a balance of daylight detectors to observers like this, or rather the backup trapdoor. So we'll have 8 backup slots that are fully automatic, and then we're gonna have 4 of them. We'll have 4. We'll have 4 that are manual, I feel. So I also don't want to go too crazy on that either. Alright. So then with something like that in place, we should be able to just go ahead and add in a couple of backup trapdoors way out in the corners that are manually activated. And then we will go ahead and supplement this farm with one extra. Snowball flies, so we are still getting snowballs. And additionally, we still do have 2 of them. That's good. And yeah, popping in 1 shulker seems to have done us good, because we've already got, in the 3 seconds that I fucking blinked, we've already got some good backups and all that kind of stuff. And we'll run another tick sprint day. I think our results are polluted though, so just keep that in mind, because remember, not all of these were here on this run, so we'll try this again. And we'll try it with a 3-day sprint too, just to see as well. It still is helping us pretty heavily here. Alright, so that was a 1-day sprint, and we'll let that last one flow into there. We had about a stack and 48 in here, and we cleared that, so I think again, we got another 3 stacks of shells. We just got that one too, and we're gonna go ahead, go into spectator, and we're gonna launch a 3-day sprint. So with a 3-day sprint here, right, it's 3 Minecraft days. Considering that we calculated that we should average about 3 stacks per in-game day with this current setup based on multiple tests, we should expect to see anywhere between 8 and 9 stacks after 3 in-game days. At least that's the idea. That's what I'm aiming for. Now we have the automated backups. We have our manual backups here too that we have in case of emergencies, which is great because we do need them. Note that these seem to be pretty blank again. I think something cratered again halfway through. Yeah, something fucked up again halfway through. So, I guess the question becomes, how do we release one of these backups if that happens? How do we detect that something hasn't happened in a while? I guess we could detect it based on if a new item has made it to the hopper in X amount of time. So we could maybe do something like that. Well, no, I mean, we did actually... Actually, no, we did get some to repopulate by themselves there. It just took a while, but it does at least repopulate itself as long as they're supercharged, so we could still be okay. I think, again, we got shafted there because it did break itself, so I don't think that's truly indicative of anything accurate. So let's run that for another 3 days here, just to see. Also, I'm not feeling that this is working out either, too, at the moment. Yeah, I mean, we got 15, but now it's kind of head and cratered itself again. So, I feel like some changes are in order once again. Looks like our backup is gone that we had there, too, because I know we had that at one point. Yeah, so we'll have to have some automatic, like, backup restocking system that'll detect if something takes too long, or just have, like, a really slow timer that will eventually, like, launch a backup out of a corner regardless. Yeah, because that definitely feels like that got fucked up, so let's go ahead and flick out a backup here. We'll flip that out. And just by flipping out that one backup, we've already got like 4 shulkers in there. And they're out doing their thing and they're out doing good. So as long as we can deploy a backup, it will like start itself back up pretty nicely, it looks like. So yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like it is doing a lot better now. So we can have our automated backups go through just fine. But for these manual ones, again, we need some kind of better way to store these and also trigger these to go back in appropriately. So maybe we can have up here instead, we could have a clock with like a trap door that goes up here or something, and then it'll release it every so often. So we could have some kind of like simple like hopper clock that will release one every like 5 minutes or something, or however long I could get like a hopper clock to go for. But even then, with that, once it's restarted, it looks like it's good. So note that we ran this for 3 days and are still currently running this for 3 days. I think we're on day 2, getting ready to go into day 3, or we're just about to finish up day 3. So yeah, I mean, it has been running. Note how it's empty again now. So nothing has come back in again, and we'll see that reflected in the chest because now it stopped producing. So when it works, it's great. But when we get to this point where we're out of backups, what happens? That's right, nothing. And that nothing is the problem here. So we need to have these manual backup points be put on an automated timer in a smart way. And I mean, additionally, they don't even have to like be too far from each other, nothing, because when you also cross borders with redstone, it can get kind of freaky. So let me see here. I haven't had to build one of these in a hot minute, but we need some kind of timer that maybe we could have just maybe just a normal etho timer would work, like an etho hopper clock. So we'll get ourselves, I think, some pistons, comparators, those, and then a redstone block. Okay, so I'm curious to see if I even remember how to build one of these. Oh, I don't. Let's look up a simple tutorial. Etho hopper clock. It should be a super simple diagram here, so I don't even need to like have a tutorial per se, but like, oh, it is 2 blocks wide. Okay. Oh, the hoppers are underneath. That's what my issue is. Doy. Okay. Let's start again. Okay, let's start with that. And let's do that. Pointing into that. And then let's get some redstone dust. like 5 stacks of items. And then all we want to be able to do is detect when maybe this changes. Let's get a dropper, maybe? Because we can detect when a dropper is powered. Okay, we'll do something like that, and then we can just like run an observer out. If I were to do sprint one day, we broke our etho hopper here. Very cool. Now it's working. Okay, not anymore. It can't be completely full, it looks like, so there needs to be some wiggle room. Nope, I lied. I lied again. What the hell, man? Are you serious? This should literally be the most simple thing in the world. That's annoying. Well, okay. That's cool. Let's see a copper bulb. See here. Only trade-off to something like this is we're going to have to make sure that all of these are buttoned off, which honestly isn't really too big of a deal, so I guess I'm not too worried about that. Actually, those don't need to be there. Okay. Alright, let's try that. Oop, that didn't do nothing for me either. Right. See, there's a simple clock we could use. Simple 5-minute clock. Looking through a bunch of old forum posts from 2012 right now, so that's where we're at, basically. Yeah, I'll look at an actual like tutorial from like Etho at some point in the very near future. I don't feel like doing it right this second, but the main takeaway with all this, if there's any one thing you have to take away from what we've just done, which is basically nothing, but if there's one thing you have to take away from this, it's that we have got to automate dropping in a shulker manually at some point. Oh, so hey Elijah, how you doing? It's been a while. But yeah, that's the big thing that we've got to be able to do. We have got to have the automated backup insertion that we have with our daylight sensors in our observer. I think this is a good thing that we've done. And then we need to come up with a way to drop in shulkers on a much slower interval. Because if we don't do it on a slow enough interval, we're going to have problems. So we'll go ahead and add in some more spots where they can be manually stored at. I don't think we need to do any more than that, but that's what we'll have. And then again, we'll hook up clocks up at the top and we'll see what we can do. But yeah, it's going pretty good, Elijah. It's almost 4 in the morning right now, but it is still going pretty well, all things considered. Just trying to work out how to build an actual good shulker farm, but unfortunately, I'm a little stupid right now. So I seem to be struggling a little bit. That's all right. We're working through it. So, I mean, right now it should be fine. Yeah, it's pumping out a good bit. So it does load through, but at some point it does break, and then it's figuring out how do we maybe store these longer term so they don't break. But yeah, I gotta actually add bots to like Twitch at some point, like Nightbot, all that kind of good stuff. But I haven't really gotten around to that yet. I'm working on redesigning some stuff under the hood, and I want to actually get all that stuff added, but that means actually I would have to sit down and do something, which, you know, dang. I mean, yeah, that works out well enough, so. Yeah, and then we got like the manual ones that are just sitting there hanging out. They're doing their thing. We ran this for 3 in-game days, so we should be coming up on day 3 here, if I'm not mistaken, or wrapping it up in general. So we'll see how that goes. Apparently 3 years. It says he started following me in June 2022, so it's 3.5 years right now. It'll be 4 years in June. I stopped streaming for like about a year straight at one point, and I've just finally started to make like a pretty solid comeback. So I've been streaming pretty regularly, and I'm starting to stream a bunch of different games, and I'm working on rebranding and all that kind of good stuff. So it's a lot of cool stuff, but well, it's pretty cool to know. It's pretty neat that I was your first follow channel. And that's not quite in line with what I had expected rate-wise, but again, it looks like it broke partway through, so it's within reason, I guess, all things considered. Yeah, it looks like it broke partway through. So we didn't have enough automatic backups and we need more timer-based ones in here, so no, it's all good. Again, I took a year-long break and like I play on a different hardcore world now anyway, so like I still have the original one that I streamed 3 years ago, 4 years ago, but like I don't play on that one at all. And like now I stream on a different one that I'm only like 500 days in or something like that instead of 2000. So I'm still making really good progress on it, but it just takes more time. But yeah, I'm gonna have to add in a hopper clock there. And you know what? Screw it. We'll add that in right now. Let's see here. Let's see here. If we can get a simple 5-minute timer, it should be fine. And an ether hopper clock should be what we're looking for, but I'm too dumb to build it. Oh, well, it's not even it's neither of them. I just kind of lost interest in them. So just to give you context, we'll pop back into it real quick. I haven't touched it since October of last year, and that's again just going through and just doing like very simple tours and like checks. So this is the old hardcore world where again I'm at day 2011 and like it's fine, but it's just different from how I like do things now, so I don't particularly like it as much. Notably, I still use totems in this world too. In the new ones that I tend to play, I actually don't use totems anymore. And again, it's cool. I like the mountains. This was before Caves and Cliffs mountains were added, so I tried building this manually. Not a good idea. Just this has burnt me out so bad that I literally never want to come back here again, unfortunately. Even as pretty as it is, I just can't seem to get around to ever finishing this, frankly, which is a bit of a shame. But the current hardcore world, on the other hand, that only has not even 500 days in it, I like this one a lot better. So this is the one where I'm now working on collecting a bunch of materials for a shulker farm that I'm working on. So that's what I was working on in that creative world. But yeah, there was no way I was going to finish that because it was just too much stuff. But this one, on the other hand, I spent, I think, about 5 hours, like, physically finding this location that I'm at now. We've got all these beautiful natural mountains surrounding, like, a nice flat area where I have a bunch of farms and stuff. And then it's pretty subtle. You might have missed it. We've got the rest of the base nearby. So this base, again, day 491. So not too much time in here at all. I'm fully kitted out with full netherite, whole bunch of cool stuff. Whole 9 yards. We've got just beautiful ranges near us and a whole bunch of terrain, and then our base that I am still working on at the moment, that is chock full of farms and is just tall as shit. I'm planning on taking this down to bedrock. This is about 3 million blocks of volume by the time I'm done with it, but it'll be super worth it once it's done. But it's a super cool spot that I built it in, and like the actual structure itself has been really cool so far. So I've enjoyed working with it for quite a lot. I mean, even just from here, it's pretty damn imposing, so it's pretty cool. But if I go ahead and pop up into a tree, you can see this is what we're dealing with here. So I really like this a lot, frankly. I'm actually using no mods, so this is just pure vanilla. So I don't use even performance enhancing mods because I'm an idiot, but that's on me. We're currently running 32 chunks of render distance, so just standard vanilla. But I have 128 gigs of RAM, so I can afford to do that. It'll lag as I load new chunks. But once you loaded up enough stuff, it's fine. But yeah, we lit up a bunch of the mountains around here in this whole area, which I plan on building a village in here at some point. I have a ton of farms up in here that if I need to, I could AFK up in my base up here, where my actual bedroom is, and load 2 iron farms, 2 bamboo farms, and sugarcane farms, 4 hostile mob farms, and then I'm planning on building a moss farm, a melon and pumpkin farm, wheat, carrot, potato, beetroot farm, honey farm, cactus farm, whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, you could always put it on 32, by the way. It's just, you shouldn't because, like, it breaks everything pretty hard. But yeah, it is definitely something you could do. But yeah, no, this is like one of the nicest bases I've had because it's in a great location. There's a ton of cool mountain ranges nearby out in the distance too that I really like. It's a nice safe spot. And I'm doing this world with no shields or totems at all, which has been really cool. So Oh, that's fair. I mean, I only still play a bunch because like they're just kind of my hobbies, so like I don't really worry too much about anything else. I just play more. I think the last time since you've been here, I ended up getting a new job, so like I make a good bit more money than I used to, and with better benefits and time off. So like I actually don't have to feel bad about having hobbies and just playing games a lot more, which is why I'm up at 4 a.m. on a Monday because I actually have Mondays off, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, hobbies being expensive is always tough. I'm the kind of person where like I like this hobby and it's cheap, so I'm gonna stick with it for basically ever as far as I'm concerned. And there's still more hobbies to do, there's still more things to do, but it's all about just getting a job that does good enough and covers what you want to do. And I got very lucky with the one I'm in now, but it took 4 months of being unemployed to get to this point. Unfortunately, it was very rough for a while, but once you get out of it, it does get a lot better. It just takes some time getting to that point. But yeah, no, it's been a very cool base up in here, and I've got some very nice farms that I finally have tucked away in here in a quarter of the time that I used to have. I'm still working on big projects and all that kind of stuff, but I've actually taken a lot more time to have things look a lot better, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I was still in college when I started streaming, and I'm still in college now, so I've got another 5 or 6 years of college left in me, I think, because I'm trying to go back for 2 master's degrees. So I'm formally finishing up my bachelor's here, like in 5 months. I'm like one class away from finishing it, but yeah, I've been in college for 8 years now, I think. So I've been working on it for a long time, but no, I've really liked working on this world so far, and it's been fun. It's kind of nuts how different things have been in just a couple of years, but it all is worth it in the end. But yeah, we got the happy gas now. We got our actual base. I've got an actual villager trading hall that's legitimately very nice. I still like the Parthenon and the old place a lot better in terms of like theming, but again, just I was never gonna physically finish that because it was too damn much. But it still worked out pretty well. We got a nice ice boat road up in the Nether that I worked on too, that I designed. And the big thing that I found that has made this world a lot more enjoyable was I took my time with a lot of things and I just like slowed down and designed stuff. You thought it'd be easier to find jobs, huh? I did too. When I got laid off back in May of last year, I thought it wouldn't be too hard to find a job. Only one place out of the 200 something places at least that I sent my resume to, only one place gave me a call back, and that's my current job. And they love me being there. I got my performance review back. I've been doing really great, and they love having me around. And I make a lot more money with a lot better benefits. So it's really just a matter of just keep applying until something lands. And that's about the only advice I can give you, unfortunately, because it is super duper hard to get a job. And I only got mine because I got extremely lucky and that I like flexed my Excel like skills that I have because I'm ridiculously good at Excel for like business. So that was the main reason why I was brought on board, was because of that. So I leveraged that as hard as I could, and then I just got lucky enough to get in at a good time. And I'm in quite a heavy bit of debt from having to use credit cards to pay my rent until I could get this job. But I'm working on getting that all sorted out, and I'll be back to zero on about 2 years or so. So I'm working on that. Things get better. It does take a lot of time. But yeah, trading hall wise, nice trading hall, very simple. Since they changed the curing mechanics over the past couple of years, you can't multi-cure anymore. So now there's just a single curing station that they appear at. I can cure 7 villagers at a time and partition them. And then once they're all cured, send them in through the trading hall, drop them in, and then reset their trade. So it's a pretty basic looking trading hall, but it's a very functional one, and it is quite nice on the inside. So I'm pretty happy with it. Additionally, too, I don't have any nether farms yet at the moment, but I am working on those. But I need to really build a shulker shell farm first because I'm at that point in the game where like I need boxes and I need a lot of boxes constantly. So I have to make sure that I get those going. But I'm pretty happy with this, so yeah, it's like everybody says they're hiring and then they're not, and then especially for like lower minimum wage jobs, they're especially like the worst offenders where they say they're hiring and then they're not actually hiring, and even if they are, it's for very, very poor wages. So it's very hit or miss with a lot of that kind of stuff, and it's really tough. the big thing to having a better paying job is education. So it doesn't need to be college, it doesn't need to be trade school, but you gotta have some level of like formal, like higher education. That's like the only good way I found to like get a job that pays better. Or you have to be very charismatic and like a good salesman and have like a good sales job that you can rely on. Because otherwise it is super hard to get a job that pays like comfortably above minimum wage without having like extra education. And it's tough, you know? But farm-wise, again, we got a whole bunch of trees, a whole bunch of cool stuff. Lit up all of the mountains, did some terraforming to add in like a little like river and waterfall that flows all the way down into a pond. That's cool. We got a nice little greenhouse for some crops and some bees as well, so they pollinate stuff and give some honey. And I'm trying to farm basically everything I can within my base area, which is why things are so clustered together. And I even got one thing I'm really proud of. So we've got like a silverfish-based XP farm that I use from a YouTube video. But what isn't used from a YouTube video is the slime farm portion that I have. Because it's also a slime farm that's really early game, and I really like that a bunch too. But yeah, that's always going to be the tough part is like sometimes the best jobs are going to have like the worst pay with that. And it's really tough too, especially when the people are really good there. But it is very hard to choose because you're gonna have to sacrifice either time to get money or money to have time, and then same deal with like the work there. And you know, 13 bucks an hour isn't great at all if you're trying to live on your own, but if you're like living with your parents or you have somebody else that can help you, it's not terrible. Um, at my old job, the max that I ever made was like 24 bucks an hour after I got all my raises and then after I was let go and all that. At my current job, I'm making like 29.42 an hour or something like that. But again, it took years to get to this point, and I still am trying to work on getting more money. Like, I'm literally trying to get a real estate license as well so I can sell real estate and get more commission. And yeah, if you're only helping your parents on a 13 buck an hour salary, that is going to be super tough to deal with, unfortunately. It's very tough to get through all that kind of stuff. And again, it does get better, but you gotta like really like sit down and plan, and it's a mix of luck and it's a mix of like planning. So, you know, Christmas bonus of 25 bucks is better than nothing. It is very small, but I didn't get any bonus for like a while. I think actually no, I think the first year I started working, I did get a bonus, but it was 100 bucks, which is still pretty nice, but it was small because I was working only part time and all that kind of stuff, and I only ever got like $100 here and there every once in a while, which was nice because it was a bonus. But because my base salary didn't really pay for a lot, I was like living with like a was living in a very bad trailer, and I was having a really hard time mentally. And then I eventually earned more money and got to move into a better trailer, and then I got this new job, and now I can actually pay for stuff and save, and like I can actually consider going on a vacation for the first time ever, which was huge for me because I never could have afforded a vacation at my other job with how little they paid, which is kind of nuts. But it's been nice, you know. It does pay off at some point, but man, it does take a long time for that point to show up, so it can be pretty rough for a while. But it is worth it in the end. But yeah, base wise, I mean, I got just about everything I could ever really want here, and like, I still have more building I want to do, but I've got a lot I have to deal with, so yeah, I don't like how it's normalized either, but at the same time, I'm very glad that I did move away from my parents a lot quicker than most. Like, I've been living on my own since I was like 17, and I'm very glad that I did that because I love my mom, but I can't stand living in the same roof with her. You know, I just can't. I just don't like her very much on those kinds of fronts, and we just have different viewpoints on everything, and like, she's just kind of miserable to be around with a lot of stuff, and our lifestyles are different too. So it's just I love her as my mother. I don't want to live with her though. But, you know. But even then, it's still nice to go out and visit her, and I'm not too far away from her. I'm only like 90 minutes away, so I can still see her fairly often and all that. Um, but it all just kind of depends how I'm doing, and I've been doing a lot better, so. But the big thing with me is like I have like 60 grand in debt I gotta pay off between my car, my trailer, and my credit card debt. So I'm working on trying to come up with ways to make a lot more money here fairly soon. Just because I want to not have to worry about having to get stuff anymore, as it stresses me out after a while. And it gets pretty tough. So I'm looking for ways to earn a little bit more. But oh, hey, if you got a new car at a good price and it is worth it, you can't get a job without a car, so you kind of have to have one in the US, unfortunately. That's really the only tough part. It is nice to be able to drive, though. I don't like driving because I hate driving in Florida, and it, like, stresses me the hell out. And, like, people are aggressive in Florida for, like, no damn reason at all. And it makes me mad. And I'm like, dude, you have got to just lay off, you know? It cannot be whatever you think is important cannot be that important because you are like going past me. Like I'll be going 70 down like a highway or like a state road, and then somebody will still fly, and the limit's 65, and I'll still go 70, and somebody will fly past me at like 80. I'm like, dude, I'm already going over the speed limit. What the hell are you so mad about? Like, calm down, you know? Yeah, used cars are a lot more expensive now too because everybody at some point is like, oh yeah, you know, used cars are a lot cheaper, and that's kind of the trade-off with everything is like everything is cheap until too many people find out about it and then it's all bought up. So like with RAM prices right now, for example, that's a big one where like it was relatively reasonable and then too many people bought shit up because of AI data centers being buttheads, and now it's too damn expensive again, and it's not cool or fun. Being a cop in the US, how classic. I have never trusted cops after how they've handled certain things in my childhood personally. They have dropped the ball a few too many times in very critical points in my life, and I don't respect nor trust them. And especially after all the videos and footage you see constantly of somebody just fucking up in a horrible, horrible way that you're like, how did you even become a cop? But yeah, they're people too, but there's like a difference between they're people too and like this guy is insane and is definitely profiling and also has made such a weird blunder that like no person should make unless they're not of sound mind. Like I don't know if you saw it a couple of years ago too with what happened in Florida, but there was a cop who had a suspect already arrested in the back of his patrol car and basically had assumed that he was getting shot at because an acorn had fell onto the top of his cop car. So he does like two barrel rolls and he's calling shots fired and he's claiming to his like fellow like sergeant or deputy that he was hit, and then they shoot back too because they heard that their fellow, you know, cop was hit. And it just is just the most embarrassing thing for like no reason, for no reason at all. And it's like, why? Like that's what gets you? And it's the other ones too that just there's all this emphasis in the United States about like policing people for safety, and then something happens that would require policing, and they're too afraid and incompetent to do anything. So like the Uvalde and like Parkland school shootings were just brutal, you know, and you had all these cops and all these people that just didn't do anything. And you even had footage of people actively trying to get into the building to stop the shooter when the cops wouldn't, and instead they were detained and arrested for interfering. And but the cops wouldn't interfere, and that led to a bunch of people dying. And it's just not one-off things. That's the problem. If this was like once a decade and it just was a really bad string of hirings and it was just unlucky, I would get that. But the fact that it just keeps happening in such a short amount of time, a bunch of bunch of police, it's just not cool, you know? You can only say it's, you know, some people are just bad and it's just unlucky so many times before it turns into like just you just are not good at your job and you're grossly incompetent, you know? It's just not cool after a while. Also, don't think I'm building a hopper clock right. I feel like there's something I'm missing. Why don't I build a hopper clock maybe out in the distance first, and we'll try this the old-fashioned way with maybe it was sticky pistons I needed because I assumed I just needed regular pistons because I didn't see that they were sticky, but maybe they were sticky. And then we'll get, I don't know, we'll just do openings or something. We'll keep it simple. There we go. Yeah, that's always how it starts too with a lot of people is they see somebody doing something so incompetent that they want to get in there and do better. And again, that's an admirable goal, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's disheartening how many stories you hear of people doing that, and it just doesn't work out that way at all for them. It's, the good cops get let go or they get shot first or something just fucked up happens to them and it's just not the same. It's very disappointing. To also see if maybe this works. Let's try 60 seconds. Okay, well that was a really fast sprint, I guess. Okay, so that was my issue, is that I wasn't using sticky pistons. I don't know how much time a hopper clock has. Let's see here, 5 minute clock, maybe? If I could make a 5 minute timer, and I don't want to rely on like a respawn timer, but like I want to try and do like the binary counter ones. I think those would be a little better. So let's see if I could do that. Oh yeah, no, life changes and people change just completely fast, dude. It is so weird. If you ever actually get a chance to take a step back and just think about how far you've come in life, it is insane how different things end up being. I mean, personally, like not even a year ago, I still was in a different city, employed by a different group of people, and I was just miserable. And now I'm like doing a lot better with a much nicer paying job. Still got better friends. I'm dating again. I'm doing a lot better in life, and I'm like finally feeling like I'm happy and I can actually like grow and change as a person. And it is just genuinely super nice to be able to do. And I never thought I could get to this point again because of how tough everything used to be at my old place. Now things are actually good. I never thought they could be, but they actually have turned out to be so much better than I had imagined at this point last year that I'm just very happy with. Okay, this is a fucking bedrock design. You can't show a cascaded hopper clock and be like, yeah, this one's gonna work. No, it doesn't. Dude, come on. Who would do this to me? It's not cool. Yeah, I mean, again, there are some things about people that never change, but just being able to grow up and see life get better is just such a big thing to be able to have. So it's not easy to do. I really don't want a despawning timer because that feels dumb. I can try and do like a cascading hopper clock. Cascading hopper clock. Let me see here. There's gotta be like a nicer cascaded clock design. Because the one I'm looking at is dumb and stinky because it only works on Bedrock, so just not cool. Yeah, there's gotta be a better hopper clock that like is gonna be better. I'll probably look at this another day, but I know what I want basically. Well, hey, it's good that you're able to grow as a person and get more social skills. It takes time. There's nothing wrong with that. But no, that's fair. Well, especially since you haven't been here in a while too, so it's kind of weird to see like somebody who's basically frozen in time in some aspects, and then you get to see like how things are different versus how things used to be. It's all interesting. But again, hopper clock for these things. I want a 5 minute clock. I wish they weren't so damn annoying to build. That's because I haven't never built them before, so I'll build them another day. But I'll end up figuring that one out at some point. I really don't want a despawn clock. Because I could just fill a despawn clock up with a bunch of junk items and let it run, but I also feel like that's kind of lame too, so. But yeah, like see, something like this we would want every 5 minutes to jump start, because now there's no shulkers in the farm itself. So now they won't activate properly. And yeah, I mean, this is going to be kind of annoying, but oh no, I am not ever doing that again. That's why I found the mountains that were already generated for me, because I don't ever want to touch that again. I don't know if I'll ever do a terraforming project that large for a while. Um, I do know that I eventually want to dig a hole going down to bedrock, and I've calculated it out, and it's going to be about 2.7 million blocks in volume. So that's probably the biggest thing I'll ever work on in the new world, but other than that, I don't really want to touch anything of that caliber ever again, because it's too damn much, but we'll try and just launch one more in there to see how this works. We can get it to jump. There we go. Oh, and it looks like too, once one shulker is hit, it does work out pretty well, so that's nice. Yeah, the hole to bedrock can be pretty damn tough, especially once you get to deep slate, so. Yeah, I mean, like, even in the current hardcore world, I actually dug, like, basically a whole chunk down to bedrock already. The problem is the one that I want to do is I want to do, like, a 13 by 13 chunk down to bedrock, like 13 chunks by 13 chunks. So the problem is that part's down in deep slate, so it'll take an ungodly long time to do it. But if I could do moss mining, for example, where you just place in some moss and you just spam a bunch of bone meal, and then instead of mining deep slate, you're mining moss, I could probably do that and be a lot better. But I'm not too sure. Note too how for like the shulker farm that if I just put one shulker in there, it seems to jumpstart just fine. Um, I just need to regularly have these manual backups get into place. That seems to be my main issue, is that I don't get these manual backups in place at all, and I can't trigger them out properly. So, yeah, I mean, I had like efficiency 5 netherite with haste 2, so like it was a lot more doable, but it still took a while at the deep slate part. But I do like all the deep slate I got out of it, so honestly, that was worth it too. But yeah, hopper clockwise, I gotta have something nicer, right? Surely there's gotta be something. Okay. Alright, so I found another one on the fandom wiki, which I know I'm using the fandom wiki, but I don't get much of a choice right now because their diagrams are still quite nice. But if we were to go ahead and get sticky pistons, comparators, that, that, hoppers, solid blocks, and we just try to build this. So we're gonna do that, 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 that. Looks like repeaters too. Okay, let's try to make sure that we're doing this correctly. Have repeaters pointing into those. That, that, and that. Okay. Let's try something like this. See if this works. There is probably an easier way with modern stuff, but like I really don't know, and hyperclocks have been around for so damn long that this is This is as far as my redstone knowledge goes, because my redstone is still stuck in 2014, basically. So I've been here for a long time on that front. Um, hmm, this doesn't feel right. Oh, no, that was correct. Mainly, mostly correct. So once it does a full cycle of like back and then forward, it looks like it'll spit out another item. Yeah, okay. So this is what we want to build. This is perfect. Put something around the circle instead of putting a clock on all of them. Maybe, but at the same time, really my only issue is that like I just don't have a way to trigger these because these need to be done like at probably 5 minute intervals. So that way I have more of them going in at once. And I also don't want them coming out of like a central timer or anything either. So that's another thing in and of itself too. Also going to maybe line these up a little bit nicer. But the main issue with this farm that I'm trying to solve right now, and it's a very minor issue now because all the hard stuff has been done. Because what the idea, I'm not gonna ask how this guy is floating. I'm just gonna accept that he is and kill him. But that was, I don't think they think that they can teleport anywhere, which is why they're floating like that still. That's super normal. But the main idea with these is that at some point in the actual shulker farm itself, right? All of these shulkers here on these columns, eventually these all die. Just a mix of bad luck and time passing. Eventually these guys all die. Now, what the observer and daylight detector ones are meant to do are meant to automatically put in backups fairly regularly. And that does help a lot, but there's still a chance that not only do all of them die in the farm, but these also die too. So these guys will live for a very long time and they won't die, but these guys will die and those backups will die, which means that these snow golems have nothing to shoot anymore. And if they had nothing to shoot anymore, then they don't have anything to shoot anymore, which means nobody gets aggroed and nobody wins. Um, but if I have more manual backups that eventually spawn here that I store indefinitely, or not indefinitely, but like if that farm breaks, I would have to manually come in here, flip a trap door, and then it would teleport back into the farm. It'll teleport back in at some point, but it seems like it doesn't want to do that right now for some reason, which is a little odd. Um, I'm not frankly sure why it doesn't want to right now, but we're just going to accept that it doesn't. But long and short of it is that at some point, they're going to realize that, hey, maybe like I want to teleport like that. There we go. So they teleport back into the farm properly and it gets a lot better. But yeah, well, I mean, it does have space. This does count as space, so it should try to teleport back into here. It's just it's being a bit of a hater right now, so that's kind of the other deal. See, like if when I flicked it back in there, it didn't go to that one or that one. It went back into the farm directly. But yeah, they're just kind of haters sometimes. But there's also quite a lot of lossage up in here, it looks like, too, with the golems. Because the original farm tutorial that I'm using doesn't use golems, it uses player AFK. So it's a bit of a shame that these shells are lost up here, but honestly, they're negligible enough in the grand scheme of things that I actually don't really mind that. Because we do actually get a lot of shells out of this. Like even just clearing away all of that. Like if I clear away all of those shells, so this is basically completely empty right now, and I just do a tick sprint for a single in-game day. So just one in-game day, right? We can see how this will end up working a lot better. But yeah, it does produce quite nicely here. The whole point with them being on here is that these will automatically fall into the farm. So that way there's less chance of things breaking without there being automatic backups. But I need some on a much longer delay to act as like a better failsafe because these won't break, but then these will. So So we just let it run for one in-game day. So keep in mind, we lost some easy stuff on these grass bits, so that's super easy to fix with just adding in more water, so I don't worry about that. But with just one single in-game day and it's still pumping out quite a good bit of stuff, that was almost 3 stacks. So in 20 minutes, you got 2.5 stacks of shells in just 20 minutes. So in an hour, you're looking at like 7 stacks of shells or 7.5, which is really damn good, frankly. And this is fully playerless AFK. You don't have to be here at all. It's the snow golems that I have in here. I did some very fine tuning and tweaking compared to the original design that didn't account for snow golems. So this is an addition that I got from a YouTube comment, and then I fine tuned the exact specifics of this. So you specifically want 2 snow golems on a carpet surrounded by soul fire, and the soul fire should be partitioned so they can only shoot in one cardinal direction at a time, because you don't want them to try and shoot out in the diagonals towards any of these guys over here. So that way they can only shoot north, south, east, and west, and not northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, nothing like that. And then once that's done, that's the only modification I've made. Then the rest of them teleport through the farm to get out of render distance. Eventually they find their way back down into here, where then they get shot to death and die, which is how their items get dropped down. It funnels in, and then it's all good to go. And in the little bit of time I've been yapping, we got to 47 shells. So remember, this was 2 stacks and 36. Now it's at 47. So we got over 10 shells, not including lossage. So this is a very, very nice design that, again, I found. This is by, I believe it was a YouTuber named Froggo. This is based off of an ending credits design, but again, can't stress this one enough. If you ever get a chance to sit down and build a shulker farm, seriously give this one a try, because this one has been very nice. For the most part, it'll work very well. Again, if you want like playerless farming, then you have to make more custom additions and modifications to that. But if you're fine like AFKing in like the chambers the video describes, like here in the center, then it's still pretty good. But if you make just like a slight tweak, you can make this fully well. Wow, that's really cool. Goodbye. That guy's gone. But yeah, anyways, it works out pretty well. So yeah, I've had a lot of shells before on the other hardcore world and the original one. Once you start dealing with like enough items, it does become more of a necessity. Like going back to the older hardcore world that's here, I like have, and you can see the mess that's here. I have a lot of just random shoulder boxes laying around that I never fully got around to sorting properly. So they've all kind of been here. We got a couple of shulker boxes of shulker shells. So these are packed to the brim with shells in them. So this alone is enough for basically ever. But I also want to use shulker box loaders, because remember, this world was out before even the Caves and Cliffs update, let alone things like auto crafting or bamboo farming for like infinite wood. So there's a lot more possibilities now than there ever were before for me, especially since I'm not using any kind of glitches or exploits in the current world, So that's no fun at all. It's very unfortunate when that happens, but somebody better be grinding for another elytra at that point, because otherwise his ass about to be turned into dust. So, but it happens. But yeah, now with this new world, everything's a lot different. There's a lot more new features. Auto crafting alone is huge for like iron farming, because it crafts it not blocks of iron, and then I can automatically farm bone blocks off of that. Additionally, bamboo farming has been really nice, because I can farm the raw bamboo and I can farm blocks of bamboo, which blocks of bamboo especially are really great because they make a bunch of wood for chests, and you need a ton of chests. Oh, damn, straight into the void with all that netherite. Yeah, that is no fun. I'm lucky I haven't had that happen yet, but I have lost like a 500 something day hardcore world a couple months ago, which was never fun, but it is what it is, life goes on and all that. But these things happen. Like, it's not that big of a deal, bro. Just go get more, doy. Clearly. But it is a big deal because it takes too much damn time. Yeah, now with like copper golems, you got much nicer item filtering for like farms that don't rely on traditional redstone filters, which is super nice, and I love that part. But It's been pretty cool. But there's been so many new updates that I wouldn't be able to mess with properly. So, damn, you're tired of Minecraft. You keep playing the server. I'm done. After he drops out, he's like, all right, well, that was fun. See ya. That's not cool of him at all, man. Sweat. I just realized too, I don't think I found an end city that was too close to anything. Actually, no, the one I did find did have like a gateway that was only a couple hundred blocks away. So I should be able to move stuff out of there just fine, but it's gonna take some finagling to get a railway set up, so I'll have to work on that. I've got one tied to a manual shulker farm, so at least I can like make and take a bunch more out of there, but that'll still take a while. But yeah, now I've really, I guess I'm glad I ended up dying in that other one because like I wouldn't have been able to do all this otherwise with all the farms I've been building, and things actually look pretty and function well, and there's like big ideas that are a lot more manageable. So I do not have an Enderman farm. That's one of the few farms I think I won't build because I don't really need a lot of Ender pearls for stuff. Like I'll just go trade at a trading hall for them. And then when it comes to XP, they're actually not even like that good for me anymore because you have to go all the way out to the end. And now again with like the newer updates in the past couple of years, you can make XP farms that are just better and like a lot smaller. And we're actually going to, I have hostile mobs turned completely off. I don't really want that off because that seems like a bit of a safety hazard. We'll turn them down to 5. Friendly mobs should probably be up to like 40. So I forgot that carries over from everything. There we go. Well, here in 2025 Minecraft, or I guess 2026 now, there's some fucko shit you can do, so check this out. So, this is actually good timing because I do need to fix my tools anyways. But there are allay farms that you can make that basically, and it's very barbaric and evil, but you can basically suffocate a bunch of allays till they start taking damage. They naturally regen so they never die like this. And there's a potion that came to the game called Infestation where if you hit something with this, every time it takes damage, it'll spawn silverfish. And those silverfish can be used to farm XP, right? So now, all these silverfish are going to spawn here. And they're going to go down in this holding chamber that I have. So that top part you can find on like YouTube tutorials and whatnot. This bottom part I've personally custom made. Because this is not only an XP farm, if you flip that lever to open those fence gates, this is also a slime farm. Because you can splash mobs with oozing, and then when you kill a mob that's infested with an oozing potion, then when it dies, it'll spawn 2 medium slimes, and then you can farm a whole bunch of slimes without going to a swamp or anything. But it is a super, super busted way to get XP. This is something you can build pretty quickly. Like, you have to go to the nether for it because you need splash potions of infestation, so you do have to have, like, basic brewing setups. So once you have gone to the nether, you literally never have to build an XP farm like this again. Or, like, I don't use enders anymore because, like, I never liked them to begin with. That's where I'm going to die. I don't know if this works in Bedrock, but Bedrock also has Trident killers, though, to be fair. So if you were going to build something, this is good for Java, and there's probably a Trident killer variant that works better in Bedrock. I want to say this should, because on paper, there doesn't seem to be anything that's Java exclusive with this. But again, I haven't played Bedrock in years, so I couldn't, like, formally tell you for sure. But I have no idea. But there should be tutorials for that. But yeah, Bedrock has Trident killers, where like you can put a trident, like you throw a trident at the ground and you push it back and forth with pistons, and then that kills stuff for you, and it drops a bunch of XP. So like this way of doing it, you could probably do this a better way in Bedrock. You should look it up, like getting a Trident killer, because that thing is like the core of all Bedrock farms. And that's the one thing Bedrock has that Java doesn't. That's like legitimately super good. It's like a Trident killer. But it's a way to automatically kill mobs without having like a player near it at all. It's really cool. There's nothing else like it in Java or Bedrock. It's very, very nice. But we're going to let these guys keep getting infested. They're still infested because of the little particles. They look like little bugs. They're still coming out of them. So We're still just letting them die and do their thing. But they'll work at that soon enough. Well, something like this is like so much better than like a skeleton spawner. Skeleton spawners are still nice for the bones, but something like this you can build for really cheap, and like I can get to level, I think in one go, I think I can get to level like 40 per potion. So one potion gets me to like level 40 or 45, so it's pretty good. Oh, that's fair. And now with tinted glass, at least you can still have like a nicer dark room, so it's still pretty good. Alright, these guys will no longer produce any silverfish. This is where all the bullshit happens. Check this out. Also, one more thing. Our render distance needs to be at 12 chunks because this lags the game so bad that if I don't turn it down to 12 chunks, I lose everything. And like, not that I lose everything, but like my frames cannot handle it. So now they drop out through that fence gate. They fall and die on a campfire from fall damage. Fuck, wait, no, I didn't splash it with oozing. No. Oh no, I missed a step. Oh man. Well, that's lame. I missed a step there. Well, I won't get as many as I should, but I'll still get enough there. But you can see all the slimes literally like shower out of here. Oh shit, I left the door open too. Whoops. That's on me. I'm just being a bit of a moron here apparently. But basically, you can kill all of these guys with looting now. So instead of having like a swamp-based slime farm or like other ones, you can use looting for this. So you get a lot more slime balls. If I had done this properly, I would get about 8.5 stacks of slime blocks. But because I did this and I fucked this up really prematurely, I'm only quote unquote gonna get like a stack of slime blocks, maybe 2 or something. So it's certainly not bad by any means, it's just not what it should have been with how things could go. But this doubles as an XP farm too, since you're the one actually killing all the mobs. It's just, it's locked behind the door. But I didn't do enough checks to manually reset all my stuff, so that's on me for not doing this properly. But yeah, that's my fault. But yeah, those silverfish, if I hadn't messed that up, I would have gotten way more slimes and it would have actually lagged my game, so I may have to try that another day with like another go, but that's alright. I'm not really short on slime either, so this hardly does anything for me. And this also runs at a much slower rate now because normally the slimes physically push each other into this pit, but now they don't because there aren't that many of them. So I'm just relying on them physically walking over here. But with that done, we can pop into here. And just keep in mind we're using mending to go ahead and fix up a good chunk of stuff too. So we're not even going to get all of the XP directly or anything. And again, this is a lot worse than it should be normally because I didn't actually like do this at its full potential, which is really a shame. But even then, this is still plenty fine, so... I mean, we got all of our tools fixed up and we're getting our silk touch tool fixed up pretty well, so you can't really complain too much. I wonder if that little bit will even do it. But basically, they fall down when they're oozing silverfish, right? They fall down on the campfire, they die from fall damage. If the fall damage don't kill them, then the soul campfire will. The medium slimes, because they spawn 2 medium slimes when they die, they explode out, they die from fall damage, and they spawn 2 small slimes each, which are then aggroed by this iron golem to fall down into this pit where I can kill them easily. But yeah, it's quite a good bit of XP, and again, this is on the low end because I made a mistake, and I didn't mean to do it like this, so... And we got like a little bit of slime in here, so... Still working on collecting everything here, so we're still waiting a little while, but that should wrap it up. So even with making a mistake and we lost probably about 70 to 80% of all the drops, we still got a lot of slime out of all of this. We still got just a whole bunch of everything, frankly. It just is really good, so that's 1 stack of slime blocks. That is 2 stacks of slime blocks. And probably 3 stacks of slime blocks. There we go. So yeah, we lost about 60% of our output there, so You can't put oozing on slimes because like they're already slimes, so they won't drop more slimes when they die. Because then otherwise you'd have like this infinite chain of them. And then also you can't just like drop a whole bunch of them simultaneously. You have to like okay, like the slimes only spawn slimes if there aren't too many slimes around them. Because if you like were to kill all those things at once, it'll only spawn like 25 slimes. So like if you drop a bunch of them, it's fine. And then if you only want to use one potion at a time, you basically have to have a large stack of mobs, splash them all simultaneously, and then have them die bit by bit to make a bunch of those slimes. So while like my stuff isn't exponential slimes, it still is like the shitty version that I just showed you was almost 4 stacks of slime blocks. For one oozing potion is 1 slime block to make 3 potions, and then 1 piece of stone to make an infestation potion. So this is a super cheap way to get a ton of XP and a ton of slime blocks. And like technically you could take that a step further if you wanted to. And I still was never able to figure it out formally, but I want to say that if you hooked it up to a wither chamber, you could also have that triple as a wither rose farm. So you could farm XP, slime, or wither roses, depending on how you set things up, which is really, really cool, frankly. I haven't formally figured that out yet, though. I haven't found any tutorial on it either on YouTube, which makes it really tough because somebody has to come up with that for the first time. But I'm pretty confident it's a thing you can do. So, wither roses, like if you stand in them, they damage you and give you the wither effect. But they're really good for wither skeleton farms because only wither skeletons can spawn on them. So, if you make a wither skull farm, only wither skeletons will be able to spawn in the nether fortress, and then you can do a lot. So I would love to be the first person to post it to YouTube, and I'm sure somebody else has done it in some capacity, but again, like with all that extra stuff, I'm really just not sure. I think I had a very, very like bare bones prototype in the nether somewhere. I don't remember where I had set it up at, but I think it's up on the nether roof. So this was like the old slime farm that I used in like my hardcore world that I had died in at one point. So this kind of just exists here tragically. And this was the old like froglite farm that works off of a magma cube spawner. And then I was working on using like a mangrove tree farm of some kind. All right, I think I need to go positive X, positive Z because I think I went to 1,000,000. I was building a nether fortress like mob farm, and I went through a portal I was specifically told in the tutorial not to go through, and I got killed by about 300 mobs simultaneously. I didn't have any good escape plan, so it screwed me over very bad. That was very tragic. But I'm basically trying here to find like a way to contain a wither so that way I can comfortably shoot or kill slimes that like come from like that silverfish slime farm. So basically you have a bunch of mobs fall down somewhere. They end up in a spot that the wither can kill them at, and then they just kind of die. Maybe it would be better using the end portal, and then I would just have to spawn a wither each time. But like as long as it spawned like wither roses, I guess I couldn't be too mad, frankly. So I guess that would be fine. And we'll go ahead and pop back there too. And this is the end that I had been working with for a long time, but ideally you would have like a chamber down here where like the wither would be, and like as long as it's stuck in the bedrock, it's fine. So I guess let me try and clear out some of this real quick. I'm also curious to see if and how this still works too. Got like a ton of strength here, so if it does try to escape, I should be able to stop it pretty well. Alright, let's get some soul sand. And let's get some skulls. There we go. So I normally spawn this with like that. I know the tail has to be at 0, 0 because it's under the dead center of the portal because it spawns where the tail does. And see, oh, am I in peaceful right now? So if I do slash difficulty hard, that was why. So when it's like this, the wither can't escape. like at all. Like it's impossible for it to escape from here. Now it's gonna die over time though is the other issue. So that's the only deal with this is like when you do this, you only have a couple minutes of doing this. So it's not permanent, which frankly actually isn't too big of a deal. So I don't know why I was so hell bent on that. I guess that's just the gift of hindsight there with something of that caliber, right? You know, something seems so important in the moment, and then you take a step back and come back to it later, and you're like, wow, I didn't give a shit about this at all. But when this happens, right, if I were to get like a slime spawn egg, because that's what we would be dealing with, I would get like slimes to die. Notice how they drop wither roses when they're dead like that. So as long as I physically had them like within range of it properly, and it looks like it would have to be baby slimes because they're the only things that'll like aggro it the right way, which is honestly fine. Yeah, so it would have to be baby slimes, but that still is fine, honestly. They do drop a good chunk of withered roses, and then as long as you had them corralled into like a single finite area, and it should be okay. So like if I were to have all of this blocked off as much as I could, and then I whittled this down, I don't know if I could still spawn it if it was like this. I guess I'm just trying to see like what the conditions are for me to spawn the wither here. So if I had this, and I know we're playing without sound right now, maybe I could at least have a little bit of sound. So see, that's too closed in. I think I need those parts like busted up. Yeah. So those two have to be open. There's no way around it. And then I would have to have a corner. Oh, wow, that kills things from super far away. That was really weird. I didn't think it could happen. I would have to have a corner, and maybe I could actually just turn explosions down instead. Nope. We could do that, I guess. I guess it's fine. Um, I would have to basically have a way to have a bunch of slimes fall in through here. Okay, they would fall down as medium slimes, right? I guess I'll have to have it expanded out to here. This was kind of a bad end spawn for the things I actually wanted to do because I have to physically build this back up. So that's just a little unlucky. But it still is all the same in the end. But basically this gives me enough space to get into here to plant the wither down. And then all I really need to do from here is I need to have the baby slimes get corralled or lured close enough to the end here. I should be fine. Also, if I go into survival, I don't get hurt doing this. So I'm okay because I'm not the one attacking the wither. So that should be fine. But basically we have a drop shoot where a bunch of medium slimes would die from fall damage, turning into small slimes, right? And then we're pretty much good from there. So, well, it's because the wither doesn't see me, right? So it's not actively trying to shoot at me or anything. And it doesn't explode unless something is actively trying to hurt it, so that's kind of the only reason why that's okay there. Let's also maybe like get some glass or something. Just that way we can see in there a little bit better. But the Wither's a bit of a hater, but because he doesn't know who to hate, he don't care at all, so we'll do a little something like this. Just that way we can see into here a little bit nicer. And if I were to spawn in, okay, well not like that, I guess. Yes, I can try to have like a chute that they fall into a little bit better. Guess maybe I could do this. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Dude, they are just annoying. They just do not want to spawn anywhere nice at all. Slimes are annoying to deal with. Uh, well, it's not necessarily that like a trident killer would help with this part. It's more the fact that like they have to like fall down here as small slimes, and the wither specifically has to kill them because you only get wither roses if the wither kills something. So again, like if I like really like fine tune this, I should be able to get this to work just fine. Um, but it's something I don't want to do tonight because I don't really care right now. Um, I could also see too if maybe I had an iron golem to lure them. So the iron golem might try to attack the wither, but it should never be able to physically reach it. But ideally, I could have something where you've got like an iron golem, he's just kind of chilling here doing whatever. He can't escape. Get in the hole, fat boy. You ain't hurt. Come on. Basically, you've got an iron golem that's boxed in, right? You've got an iron golem that's boxed in, who has such a fat hitbox that I can't actually place in the wall properly here. It's cool, but I guess that doesn't really matter, so I guess it's fine. Okay. So maybe it would need to be over a little bit more. But ideally we have a way to lure this guy over. Dude, come on. And that guy's gonna die. Okay. So, a couple of things. Let's back up a step here. We would also have to respawn the iron golem, I think, every time. Because it's gonna, like, die upon impact or something. But I guess it's not too big of a deal, so whatever. Also, I would probably want, like, the tip of this to be here. Yeah, and then we'll have this filled in or whatever. Alright, let's see here. So you'd have your one wide chamber or whatever. You would have some chamber that drops them down into here as like the 2 block wide one. Like that one there. It's just the 2 block wide one is like comically annoying. Because that's not actually like a solid block, or that's not like a whole block. It's just kind of lame. Okay, I guess I would have to see how I could funnel them into one spot. So maybe I could have a door? Yeah, I think that's what I'd have to do, or a fence gate or something. Okay. We have a door like that, and then we have that door. And only the small slimes are gonna attack the wither. I also think I would have to like block these off manually, or maybe I would have a sticky, I would have a sticky piston set up in the back here that would push those blocks into place. So that way I wouldn't have to deal with it, and then maybe we'll see, nope, I would have to have that there. But basically we would have sticky pistons push these and they would retract, and then that lets me like get in here to like place the heads and all that. So I would have to place in the heads from like underneath, and then have sticky pistons push those into place and have my way out. So that way I could spawn the wither in repeatedly. But once enough things were down here, so again, a medium slime physically falls down here and it dies. Once it dies, it aggroes onto the iron golem that it sees down here as a medium slime. Because the silverfish would fall down. Actually, no, I would have it modeled the same way that I have my current one, where basically I would have to make a big enough chamber for it, and I think that would have to be like a 3x3. Maybe it'd have to be a 5x5. Fuck. Well, we'll have to come up with different ways to do this. Also looks like they can't see the golem too well here either because there's too much stuff in the way. Because again, that's the other big thing, is we want these guys to be lured by that damn golem. At least by the wither or something. See, now it looks like they're lured too hard by the golem, so now they want to attack the wither as a result. Oh, that's lame. I think it. Oh, the wither is gonna break that instantly too, because of course he is. So if it's near anything like that, it'll break it. We could try that, maybe. Now it's targeting that slime, and as long as it's colliding with the wither's hitbox, then it should take damage, right? What if it was small slimes? Yeah, but then small slimes had the same issue where they don't collide with the wither hitbox. Yeah, I don't know how I want to do this. Oh, you know what the wither can't blow up? Water. So if you literally just had a water stream that like funneled them straight into the wither, and they were all small slimes by the time they were down here, multiple withers would be like a super dangerous idea, so I am not going for multiple withers. That would scare the shit out of me personally. I don't want to do that, so. But I really do feel like there is a nicer way to do this. I'm just a little dumb tonight since it is 5 in the morning. So, but I feel like a water stream would be enough. Alright, so you basically would have a water stream that would flush them all into here, right? You have a water stream that flushes baby slimes down into here, so they would have to die as medium slimes to spawn down here as babies. A baby comes down here, it dies instantly. So assuming you could get enough babies down in here, you would be fine. It's just a matter of reliably getting baby slimes in this pit. Would be kind of the annoying part. Oh, actually, no, it wouldn't be. I think so. I do know a way to force medium slimes to become baby slimes, like instantly. Not instantly, but like quickly enough. So powdered snow has it in a way that would work that I could get a bunch of baby slimes in like one box basically, and it would be okay. But the problem with that too is like I want to spawn like a crap ton of slime simultaneously. So I basically want. No, that should still be okay. I think I could see it. Okay. Yeah, I think I could see it. Okay. So we have the basic Allay silverfish generator. Generates a bunch of silverfish that go into the holding chamber that I'm used to, right? And then these slimes. Oh, and I should actually be able to check this in the overworld too. Oh, right, I forgot I set my spawn point here. That was some other prior testing. Let's see here. we should have that slime farm near enough by. I don't remember where. Shoot, yeah, I don't know where it is. Dang. Well, it's out there somewhere in the world, but I have yet to know. That stinks. I lost my silverfish slime farm. I'm gonna assume it's near world spawn, so we'll go fly out this way really, really fast and see if we can get to it. Um, it was near the bamboo farm that I had. It was like right around here. Here it is. Okay. So this is a recreation of what we currently have in survival, right? So we actually already reliably get small slimes doing this. Um, and in fact, we were actually most of the way there without even realizing it, I guess. So if we were to modify this a little bit more and we were to get like bedrock, because we're going to assume that this is in the end basically. So like we're going to restructure this a little bit better. But basically we're going to have just one spot flow all the way down and through. Yeah, it's fair. Anyways, we're basically gonna have it all flow down into one little area here that they could just sit here and die at. Or actually, it should probably fall into a corner because a corner would be a lot better to work with. There we go. Okay. Anyways, it goes into a corner, right? So it would go into a corner like this. We get some water. We'll get like some fence gates too. Open these up. So they're small slimes by this point when they physically get here, okay? And then we literally just want like a water stream that goes far enough away so that way we don't have to worry about anything getting busted up or nothing. And then we get some bedrock. We get some obsidian. We would have the obsidian tail like here. Okay, so then this is where we would be able to spawn the wither. And then additionally, we want like a 3x3 chunk of bedrock centered on the tail. And then this represents the end portion that we would want, okay? So, okay, I think this would actually do it, believe it or not. Like, this actually should have just been this easy. So, what we're going to go ahead and prep is we're going to make sure that we have oozing, we have these guys open. Let's also maybe, like, turn on block noises again. And turn our master volume up to, like, 30. Okay. Let's verify that that's all closed up. That's good. All this is fine. They go down into here. And then we also want this in a way to that like all of the water will push up to meet on like the tail or something. Let's try and maybe, there we go. So we want them to be able to be forced into there like that. We'll worry about the extra logistics later. Let's not think too hard about that. Yeah, let's just keep it simple and just have something like this. Let's not think too hard about it. So all of the baby slimes will eventually get pushed like right into here. I guess let's try and put the water source back like one extra block. Just so that way we can... Shoot, that doesn't go quite far enough in now, does it? Um, it was instead. That does manage to push him in far enough, so I guess it would be fine. Well, let's just try it. There's no harm in trying it, so let's just sit down and try it. So, we're gonna go ahead, jumpstart that, and then we're gonna do slash tick sprint 60 seconds. We're gonna do that a couple of times. Okay. Yeah, let's do another sprint. There we go. The wither can destroy waterlogged blocks, yeah. So it can destroy every block except for bedrock. Like, that's the only thing it literally can't destroy, which is a real shame, because it does make things a lot tougher. But because its head will be stuck in bedrock, it won't actually, like, matter there. Which is the huge thing about, like, the end portal, is that it's got, like, a nice naturally generated bit of bedrock. Which, actually, speaking of which, that does remind me, we need to have the bedrock pillar go up a couple bits, because in the end portal it goes up a little bit too, so we'll have to have that in place. And let's also make sure we have the parts for like the wither on hand, so that way we can spawn this thing. So let's do the skull, there we go. Alright. There we go. We'll do another tick sprint of 60 seconds. Okay, we'll do that. So they're not struggling anymore. We got all of our silverfish down in one spot. Let's go ahead and ooze them. Send them down. And then we would basically head down really, really fast. Alright, okay. I see an issue with this. Slash difficulty peaceful. So, we need the ability to limit them. We're not ready to spawn it in yet, which is on me. I didn't think that far ahead, apparently. That's alright. Additionally, let's get some glass going in here too, but yeah, it happens. That's the fun part, right? You get to learn about why things work and why they don't. But now with this is what we want. But we know at least that the chute worked, so that's good. But now we get to remotely control this with a lever. So, we don't let them go until we're good. So basically, we should have the wither ready to go here. Like, the only thing that should be missing is... Oh, well, that's annoying. Yeah, well, that's lame. I guess we could just block that off with, like, obsidian, so that way we know what to break later. I didn't know they popped off, frankly, but that's alright. Anyways, let's go ahead and rerun that again real quick. So again, let's go ahead. Get that ready. Let's do another sprint. slash difficulty hard door. Do another tick sprint there. Then go ahead and go to video settings, and we actually go at full trunk distance, so we're fine. And we'll run another one. It should eventually go ahead and turn everything into silverfish. Those particles should wear off here very soon. They worn off. We won't leave them to suffer right now. And then we bump that. We got that. There we go. Okay, so now they all pile up. Our wither spawns. We get our water broken. Here we go. Damn, day 20,000 is pretty nuts. And we have a couple of slimes. They're starting to die from entity cramming. Looks like we should have used doors instead. Do another tick sprint here. We got 12 wither roses on us right now, or 13. We have a little bit more than that. Okay. This is viable. This is 100% viable. Perfect. Alright. So I think you get the point. We have a viable way to farm wither roses. It costs a wither each time we want to farm roses, but frankly, and our inventory filled up early, by the way. I want to mention that as well. So had this not filled up early, we actually would have been fine. This alone is like over 9 stacks of wither roses. So what little we could pick up without our inventory completely overfilling and deleting the remainder, we got 12 stacks of wither roses. I have no doubt that would have been closer to 18, so yeah, we got quite a lot of roses there we should be able to work with. So realistically, all this means that we have to do is we basically have to just build our Allay XP farm again. There's nothing fancy we need to do. We just need to build this again in the end, and then have all of the medium slimes die from fall damage like we already have. They're all small slimes that we would just lure like normal. And then when we have all the small slimes, we just push them to a fixed point near the wither. And then we have our manual releases and all that kind of stuff. And then we're done. So yeah, we did it. Alright, well, I will not be implementing that for a while because I want to again focus on the Shulker shell farm. But when we want to build a wither rose farm, we will get all of this built. We'll farm enough skulls to build the wither again, so that way we can get all the wither roses we can get a hold of. And then with those wither roses, then like we can go ahead and build an actual wither skeleton farm with wither roses, and we don't have to skimp out on nothing. I mean, yeah, we as in like we're all here and we're all a part of it, but yeah, I mean I did all the work, but you know, it's neither here nor there. It's nothing to worry about. But yeah, no, we got that done. That's pretty damn cool. So basically it's an XP farm and or it's a slime farm. So it's either going to be The one in our base is only going to be XP or slime. The wither one is basically only going to be for wither roses. So like I'm only having this toggle here because I do have to have a catch for them. So we're just going to rebuild this exactly in the end in the right spot. So we'll get that figured out. The 7x7, we'll have to make sure we have that drop chute because again we got our central block, then we got 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, and then the wall. So you'll have to have a 7x7 in space with the trapdoors, but that all works out fine enough. And it's a pretty simple build once you actually sit down and you do the math. But frankly, that's going to do it for me for now. I am now tired, finally. And yeah, I don't think I'll make an actual tutorial for it, but like, there will at least be like something somewhere referencing it. So that way it's there or something. Because it is literally just the farm that I already have. And it's just like it funnels the slimes a little differently is all. So it's already all done. It's just doing it again. But yeah, I am gonna go to bed finally. It's 5 in the morning. I'm gonna go sleep for a while and then I got stuff to do in the morning or afternoon. But with that being said, thank you all for watching and I hope to see y'all again soon when we actually build the damn shulker farm. But yeah, God bless and have a good one. Bye bye.